All right, all right, all right. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got some of the bad boys here with me, which means we have to do roll call just to see who's here and who's not here. So let's go through with it right quick. Simon Street, you here?
I'm here and accounted for.
Oh, welcome, man. It's good to see you. It's good to see
you. You fine fellows as well.
Sin City Steve.
Present.
Ah, good. Great. Thanks for showing up to work, man. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm just here so I won't get fired.
Exactly. Matt Michaels.
Yeah, right now I'm out. I'm actually in Arizona, but I still am on the show tonight. So even though I'm in another state and we have technology, I'm able to participate on the podcast.
I appreciate that. Thank you for showing up. Do you know what? That is true. The internet is everywhere. So somewhere you can pop on, you know?
Well, that's not true. I heard there's such a place where no internet exists, and that's called Thailand. And that's where probably one of our compadres is at, Thailand.
Okay, let's see.
Well, Thailand is next to Smarkville, so.
That is true.
Very true.
All right, King Lucky is not here. So that's the missing link. But we're all here and we're happy to be here with you all. Thanks for watching us live or tuning in on our podcast. And first off, just to kick things off, hey, we got a brand new app. All you have to do is jump on your iPhone or your Android, go to your app store, type in Vegas Bad Boys with a Z, and the app will pop up. It's a great way to keep up with everything that we're doing. And it's pretty exciting. So thank you for downloading that and keeping up with us. We're going to start things off with wrestling talk. And gentlemen, what an interesting week of wrestling this week. I mean, seriously, there was just so much happening. And I will tell you, I was pretty entertained. I won't go as far as going, oh, what is this crap? What are they doing? Like, I really was entertained. And that's just from everything that I watched from all the shows. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Monday Night Raw. They start the show, guys.
We can't talk about it because Lucky's not here.
We can't. So we don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened.
That's true.
We're not smart enough to understand what happened on 3 hours of Raw.
Well, you know what? And it would be great if he was here. The show started off with all of these power issues, lights going off, microphones going off. And it's funny because before I knew what was going on, I actually thought that they were really affected by the storm that was happening out there. I was like, oh, okay. But then I was thinking like, well, why would they still run it when it's not live? I'm questioning all these things going, until you get closer to the end, you figure it out. Okay. Overall, though, I thought it was a great show. I'll let you guys start off on what things that really stood out to you. And let me go ahead and just preference Raw Underground. We are going to talk about when we get to our 3 count. Okay, so make sure you listen to 3 count because that's when we're going to give our analysis about Raw Underground. There was a lot there, and we definitely want to, just unpack everything about that. So you're not going to get that right here on our wrestling talk. I'm acknowledging it, but we're not going to go deep into it, okay? But there was a lot of other things that was happening on the show. So I don't know, guys, what stood out from you on that particular show that, you was like, I like it? Anything particular? Go ahead.
I was definitely going to say I was pretty excited to see Shayna Baszler, continue to be strong, even though it's against Bay, and I don't mean Chris Bay, I mean my Bay, my other dimension Bay, but yeah, Sasha Banks, and I enjoyed the match that they had. I want, like I mentioned last week, I really want to see them do something with Shayna Baszler. I think that she's a good, person to fit in right now. And I think that there's a spot for her. I don't know where she's going to land, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how long Sasha can hold on to, that women Raw women's not tag title, Raw women's title that she has acquired. And we'll see if she can hold up because,
easy enough for you to say.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. So much damn gold. It's hard to just put the finger on one of them. But yeah, it was a good show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I tell you, I enjoyed the Seth Rollins segment on that because I was for a second thinking I'm about to get Joe back in the ring. I'm not too familiar on what injury he has, so I don't know how far he is with coming out of that, or is he even done? I'm not sure. I don't follow it to a T that much, but when I saw him look like he was ready to get in, I was excited to see Joe look like he's about to do damage. Great segment, and then Tom played his role good because he looked like he was really scared about what was going to happen to him.
He always scared.
He couldn't talk. He was turning red. I'm like, Tom Phillips, come on, man. Wow. But overall, great segment there, and it should be an interesting match for Seth having his match against Dominic, right, for SummerSlam. Pretty big for him to have that big moment. So I'm looking forward to that. But that was a really good, strong segment for that particular show. Sin City Steve, was there anything that Raw there that really stood out for you?
I personally liked the promo at the very end of the show with the Hurt Business.
Yes.
I love what they're doing with them. Just continue to build them, make them a credible faction, and I mean you've got something good there. I like the spin that they've put on things like these guys coming out in suits, but they're also bona fide badasses. And they could have gone a lot of different directions with this faction, but I'm really excited that they have gone the direction that they're going with them. It would have been extremely easy for them to do another, carbon copy of the Nation of Domination, for instance.
Right.
But this,
they made a smarter choice just going with the Four Horsemen carbon copy. So.
Well, yeah, basically.
Well, actually, this is just a reboot, but the third member not being Kenny King that did this same thing in TNA many years back. So, I mean, almost identical.
Yeah.
What's interesting, too, is that, I mean, those three young kids are finally getting a push.
I know, man. I will say this, though. I've never understood why they didn't give Lashley, a main event push until now, and why it's taken so long. I mean, yes, he was involved in, the WrestleMania event so many years ago, but I mean, even then, it didn't feel like as if it was a true elevation. This legitimately feels like as if they are grooming him to take that championship from Drew.
Let me ask you this question, Steve. How many years has Bobby Lashley been in the WWE, or just in general?
So I mean, his career,
just give or take, just guesstimate.
So according to Wikipedia, because I had to Google it. No, according to that, I mean he it looks like as if he made his debut in 2005.
Okay, so it's almost about how many years would you say?
It's 15.
Oh, okay. So Kofi Kingston. 14 years. What did he say to Big E last week? Don't let them hold you back for 14 years. There might be something. I'm sorry, I don't want to rattle a cage, but I just see some common points. Just going to put it out there. Continue.
I don't know where you're going with that.
Well, you can connect the dots later. I'll get you some crayons and I'll get you the whole coloring book of the WWE. Wait 14 years before you get a title push if you're of certain color. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this is what's forgotten. Big E had a run as a singles wrestler.
Yeah, but it
And-
was as somebody's lackey, though. I mean, well, if you don't count NXT. NXT, he was very successful.
Yeah, but didn't he hold the U.S. title back in
He
the
held the
day?
IC title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about
That was the
the
singles
title.
champion.
Okay. I'm talking about the
No.
championship.
Yeah, but don't forget that when they committed to New Day, those guys are the ones essentially making the choice to stay together.
And it's true. That's a very good point.
How many times must they have been approached backstage going, hey guys, we're thinking of breaking you up? And they're like, no, that's okay. So,
That merch check was looking real good.
hey, I don't know.
I know
Because
I bought a
of
couple shirts. I bought a whole bunch of New Day shit.
Yeah, it's because of your point too.
Yeah.
If they're not going to put the title on you and you're making your money off of the merch, well, why the fuck would you not just go, okay, hey, I'll stay in this for a decade if we keep making this kind of money. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was just trying to be a little petty. I mean, every once in a while I can be a little petty.
Oh no. I mean, listen, you've got a valid point, but at the same time,
there's other things.
Yeah. And the other thing too with Lashley's had championships, including the ECW championship.
Yes, true. Yes.
The problem with Bobby Lashley is that
can't talk.
He looks great. Looks great. Yeah. I mean, he looks fucking amazing, but I mean, honestly, think back to the first time you heard Bobby Lashley talk and you're just like, what? If Goldberg had that voice out of him, Goldberg would have never been a star.
Yes, he definitely talks very. I felt like I was going to hear a book being read. Hi, my name is Bobby Lashley. I just wanted to let you know this is the autobiography of how tough I look, but I sound like a normal guy. How are you doing? No offense, Bobby. Don't whoop my ass. I'm just saying.
And by the way, shout out to everyone that is in the chat rooms. Quite a bit is going on, especially on my watch party page. It looks like our very own Raven is being a comedian over here as always. Sin City Steve, he wants to know that bottle water looks pretty huge. How big is that thing you got there? And
that would be a 1.5 liter bottle of water. And I typically go through almost the entire thing between the two shows that we record.
Yeah.
That's also his restroom break too. He just uses the bottle.
Right. And we also have a birthday shout out to Shant too. So happy birthday.
Yes, right.
To him.
Shant.
Yeah. So also Raw, how about Nia Jax, guys? She got herself suspended by the producer Pat Buck. I mean, she whooped his ass pretty well. What's your take on this, Matt? Michael, you're shaking your head. What's your take, man? Without pay, by the way.
when he got beat up last week, I just kind of just let it be. Like, oh, okay, they used this guy, whatever. When he came out this week and they're putting him in the ring and they're having him talking shit, I'm finally looking this guy up. And you know what? He has a credible history. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take that away from him. I can say though, as a WWE official, he comes off as such a independent wrestler that it's like I wanted Nia to like not only just destroy him. Why could she not carry saying him? And just throw him down on his fucking mat and put him out of company. But hey man, she got suspended. Good for her. Because, she's what, 4 weeks in or 5? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you know what sucks so bad is now she's suspended with no pay, and that braid work she had was tight. It was looking good. Whoever did her hair, it looked good. Obviously, they didn't work on her common sense because she wasn't that smart.
Well, The Rock did her hair too.
Is that what he did? I mean, in addition to buying XFL with his ex-wife, associate manager,
And you know, I mean, he's the reason she's in WWE, and so why not do her hair too?
Yeah.
You fancy,
Yeah.
huh?
We also had the Street Profits. They had a match, and Montez Ford, he got poisoned. I don't know where that's going, but I let me just note to self. Now I know this already, and I'm sure Simon Street has been knocked out a few times in his life. But Matt Michaels or in Sin City, there's a possibility that you may not know this. So I'm gonna hip you to some game, okay? When you see Sister Girl, okay, black woman, take off her earrings, that usually means there's about to be a problem, okay? And it was for Zelina because Bianca just took right off on her. She was not having it. You know, when I saw the first earring, I was like, girl, Zelina, you need to run now, you know? You know, great segment back there, but I don't know what's going on. I mean, he got poisoned and apparently they're not owning up to it. So they knew poison Montez Ford, you know? So I guess we'll have to see where that goes. Just another thing that was thrown on during that night of just so much craziness happening. But yeah, we had that. It was a great promo, right, by Drew McIntyre and Orton. I know Matt Michaels is still not sold on Drew. You know, I like Drew. I think he handles himself well. I thought it was a pretty good promo. They're selling it for the pay-per-view. But I don't know. I mean, Sin City Steve, what do you think? I see a smirk on your face. So you're not really buying any of these two.
I thought that this week's interaction was really good.
Okay.
It's pretty obvious when Randy Orton is either excited by something or feels challenged by something because he actually looks like he gives a shit. So, you know, whenever that happens, that's a win in my book. So just keep this going. And again, it seems like as if all roads lead to, you know, Bobby Lashley taking the title off of Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I guess we got the Riot Squad back, at least two of them.
I guess.
It was emotional. You
know what? But that was some of the best work that those two.
Yeah, seriously.
That was fucking great, especially too because the Iconics characters, that's exactly what people should be doing to them.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. Yeah. If anyone talked to you in real life like that, you would fucking go apeshit on them, you know?
Right.
So it made sense. What would be nice is if they could elevate one other person now into kind of that role that Sarah had. So have more of an enforcer with that group too, and have them fucking run roughshod. Give them something to do. Ruby's fucking amazingly talented.
Yeah.
You know, and Liv, you know, she has the ability, but there's so many through the years, there's so many short, blonde, big-titted chicks that it's hard to distinguish yourself. You know, I mean, look at Mandy. Mandy's finally starting to become something else.
Like Dukes of Hazzard or something like that. That's why every time I see her, I think of Dukes of Hazzard.
Sure. So, yeah, I think that, you know, and can we just say that Kevin Owens is like one of the greatest people. Just use him. Use Owens like you should fucking use him because he is money.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
agreed. And yeah, I think Liv has actually come a long way. And it's obvious to see how hard she works at bettering herself. So I give her all the credit in the world. So
yeah, I agree.
Well, if you also look at just the landscape between Raw, we're going to talk about Raw and SmackDown in this case scenario. A lot of women are starting to step up their game to where they're bringing something to the table, which even makes it even more diverse and more deep of a roster for, those two brands, prospectively for, just the women's roster. So many great things are going to come up in the future as we see more people. I mean, we give WWE shit about, in the past of not really pushing new characters or allowing characters to go through. Right now it's happening before our eyes. So, I mean, we got to give credit where it's due.
Agreed.
But here's the cautionary tale.
We fuck it up.
Well, no, the women's division, think about it. The women's division can only get so much time. So unless they create a new show, all right, if Becky comes back and you have Charlotte and you have Sasha and Bailey, that's your foundation. Those are the people who are the core people who will always be at the top, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're developing all these great women wrestlers. What's going to happen is there's not going to be a place for them. And thus, AEW now has their women's division. So basically, if they don't come up with their own women's program, they're basically the feeder for AEW.
Now, let me ask you this question, because you make a very excellent point about that, and I have thought about that along those lines. What if WWE put in stock or put a lot of stock into creating a viable women's tag team division? And really, right now they're resting obviously on Sasha and Bailey. I get it. But right now, really put together some really good quality women's tag teams. We got the Riot Squad that's back together. Let's pair them as a tag team, a legitimate tag team. They already got the sauce. All we need to do is add the ingredients and put it on the plate. We're going to eat it up. There's some other tag teams are individuals that would probably do well if you paired them together. Take the time we have now during COVID, put stock into them. So that way, when we do get, Becky back and we get, Charlotte back, you have a really good tag team division that utilizes a lot of the talent.
So your problem with that is one simple factor, and that is time.
Yeah, that's true.
And the problem, think about it. They can't even come up with a good men's tag team consistency in a division of guys wrestling. And again, if you're talking about, people who are not used, well, why wouldn't you put them in tag teams? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the focus has been lost on tag teams and tag team matches. Even though you're using 4 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now what you're doing is you're investing time and effort to build these two together. And if you're not going to be constantly having the tag team division on TV, then you're wasting time that could be used for your more important thing, and that is your singles division.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what you're saying, having another show. I mean, even in that scenario, yeah, all roads lead to having another show.
And that's why factions work, is because with a faction, you can actually have a standout individual going for titles. You can have a tag team with the championships. That's the Horsemen laid the blueprint for what you can do with that. Yeah. NWO laid the blueprint of how you can take something that good and just totally fucking blow it out of the water by putting anyone and everyone into it and then having no time for anything else on your show.
Now, I don't want to jump the carriage before the horse, but, isn't that what AEW is starting to do? Utilize factions? Just a nod, and we can talk about it later. I'm just kind of looking at it as you said it.
Okay, all right.
You gave me approval. That's all I need.
Yep.
So one last thing I'll mention on Raw, there was a United States championship match against Apollo Crews, who came back against MVP, and Apollo Crews retained that title. So he had 2 belts as well. A lot of people walk around with 2 belts, you know. So
no, he doesn't have 2 belts. He gave the old belt to his kids so that they have a championship.
Yeah,
that's true.
Laying the expectation.
Because until this point, he didn't get enough money to buy them a title replica from Toys R Us. So
you can now.
Yeah.
You know what though? Here's the thing that it just
okay.
Why have Apollo Crews feuding with those guys? Have them with them. At least develop one young guy with the veterans.
Another group in WWE did that before too. I think they went by the name of Evolution. Just saying. Makes sense.
No, that is a good point though.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get my people to talk to those people.
Your people.
Yeah.
Who's your people?
King Lucky.
Oh shit! Well, in that case, you're gonna have to get to the Thailand border and just dance straight down the center to get to Smartville, which is in the center of Thailand. I'll let y'all figure that one out.
Oh my God! All right. Well, that will take care of Raw. And again, there was this. Everything that started off with Raw when it came down to the power issues and mic issues, it also went over into SmackDown. So we'll talk about that once again. But the following night, Tuesday, was Impact Wrestling. Any of y'all watch that, or just me?
I did. No, I watched it. I watched it.
Well, tell me, what's your thoughts on the show, man?
I tell you what, I like the Wrestling House.
See?
I don't know why it is the most corniest shit ever. It's like Real World.
Right.
Big Brother meets trapped in some altered dimension type shit. You know what? It's just the right amount of kookiness. And I like how Taya is basically the host. And she, she just like ordering people around, and she handed out the soap, the kits because of the BO in the room. So she's handed everybody like a little, it was a styrofoam disposable saucer with soap, and I think it was a razor shaver kit or something. I don't know what it was, but I thought it was cool. It broke the monotony.
The Wrestle House is great because it now get a chance to utilize a lot of the other wrestlers and not necessarily, have them in the Impact Zone, because they still wrestle in the Wrestle House. Yeah. But, it gets all of them sort of in, it keeps a majority of them on TV versus needing to, separate them. So it's a pretty cool concept, but I enjoyed it. And then there were 2 matches at Wrestle House. The only way you get a match is when there's an issue. that ended up happening. And Swinger got himself in some mess talking that nonsense. And he got a match with against Alicia and Susie.
I know you love that.
And that match he just loved. I mean, even when he got pinned by both of them, he looked at it as himself being the winner in that one case.
Well, can you blame him?
Right.
I mean, sometimes you just got to call a beaver a beaver.
That's true.
Hey, I will tell you, calling a beaver. You know why I realized while watching just that match and then, watching other times with Swinger, if you took Quagmire from Family Guy and you turned him into a wrestler who actually kind of looked cool and had a little body on him, that would be Swinger. Oh, I was waiting for him to say, the shit that Quagmire does. I was waiting for him to say that.
That's funny. There was another match there with Rosemary and Kylie Ray, and Kylie Ray got herself kind of in a pickle because she was talking. What is old boy's name? I always forget his name. Who's the sidekick for
Taya? I always forget his name too, but I love the flannel shirts and the little flip flops he be wearing though. He real casual with it, like he about to.
But anyway, they was under the impression that he left the house, and and they got upset at that, so that caused a match in the ring for that. Good match there. But of course, Impact started the show with Heath versus Muth for the TNA Championship. Now, this was important for Heath because not only would he have become the TNA champion, but he finally would get a contract officially. And so pretty good setup, because you would think with that happening, more than likely Heath's going to win, right? Because he's going to get that contract.
He's got kids. That's not. He has to feed his family.
He's got kids, you know. So, but it didn't happen that way. What ended up happening is Heath pushed Moose into the ring corner. Of course, who was there? A referee, and
of course.
And the referee's now knocked out. And while he performed his finisher and had more than a 3 count to get him that win, that didn't happen. When Moose finally got up, he hit him with the low blow. And of course, the ref wakes up, and Moose still retains that TNA title. Good things what they're doing with Moose. I'm still enjoying it, and he's just continuing to show that he's good at what he do. You know, and Heath. You know, I'm pretty sure we all know that eventually it would come for that signing. But as of right now, you know, we don't know where his fate lies going forward.
Maybe so AEW, maybe AEW will get the same opportunity and not make it. That would be the best. And I think Michaels or somebody mentioned, I can't remember who mentioned it a couple of weeks back as a possible scenario for Heath if he could. I can't remember who said it, but it was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's what his gimmick should be. It would literally be the best gimmick you could have, just going from company to company, being a free agent. And your shirt that you sell says free agent.
Free agent. But
by the way, Johnny Bravo.
Yep.
Oh, not like the cartoon.
No.
On Cartoon Network. Okay. Hey, not Impact, you left out one.
Bunch either.
Oh, that's true. Impact, you left out one thing with regards to Moose in that TNA World Heavyweight Championship. By a guy that is on a mission to destroy everything that he claimed, EC3. His promo, kind of shows that, hey, your time is up, Moose, and I'm coming for the title that doesn't really exist, but could possibly exist. I don't know what the fuck, the Phantom TNA World Heavyweight title. But it's interesting, those promos of EC3. He basically to recreate this new version of EC3, he must destroy his past self. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but I thought that was interesting to see where that lies.
True.
But it was emotional at the end, man. I'll let you talk about it. You watch Impact all the time, man. I was a little emotional.
Well, no, we'll get close to that. Just some other mentions. Their good promo with Motor City Machine Guns and the North. They're gonna apparently Impact Wrestling is working up to their next pay-per-view, which is called Emergence, and that's going to be in about 3 weeks. So there's going to be a lot of title shots. Those that lost the titles during Slammiversary now get a chance to use their opportunity to fight for that title again. So it was a pretty good little promo between Motor City and the North. Kimberly, by the way, I guess she officially signed with Impact Wrestling this week, so shout out to her. And she met Purrazzo in the back and was like, look, I'll take out Jordan Grace for you, but I got to be the one to get that title shot. So Purrazzo was like, all right, cool. So we'll see, because that's going to happen next week, and we'll see if Kimberly can get that job done. But I don't know. I think Jordan Grace is ready. Last week, she showed that she's ready to take Purrazzo out. So big match, though. Eddie Edwards, he wants to be a fighting champion. And the person who wanted to accept the title was Sami Callihan, who came out. He almost made it to the ring 100% into RVD after his lights came back on, hit him with a chair. And then, of course, Katie Forbes came out twerking over Sammy. I'm sure maybe what she was trying to do is get that butt to hit Sammy's head while he was on the ground already. Maybe that was, maybe she was trying to, with the.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. That would be way too big to be on top of somebody's head at such a velocity and speed.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Sammy did get beat up at the top ramp, and from that point, Eddie was being the nice guy, like, "Hey, all right, look, man, why don't we like postpone that? You shouldn't fight now, blah blah blah." And Sammy's like, "I'm ready to go," and they did have this match, and Eddie, of course, retained that title. So, good stuff there. Good Brothers, though. This was pretty interesting. And I almost kind of seemed like this kind of played out a little somewhat in like SmackDown when it came down to the whole Jeff Hardy and Sheamus car incident. Kinda. But good fellas, as they were walking to their car, they noticed their car door was open and some of their beer cans had already been emptied and right outside their door, and they're confused as to why this is happening. And of course, a sheriff happens to pop up and question as to why is there open beer cans, because in the city or state or wherever they're not supposed to have that open by the car. And now they're trying to explain that they don't know why that is. And then, of course, Austin pops up, Ace Austin, talking smack. They end up starting to rumble. And then Doc Gallows hits a sheriff by accident. So Mr. Doc Gallows ends up in a jail overnight. And, for that. And that left good old Carl Anderson alone. So later on in the show, he ended up getting beat up. But we'll have to figure out what happens with Doc. How long he's got to spend time in that jail for hitting a police officer by accident. But again, they have this car door open with beer laying out on the ground. So I don't know. We'll have to see where that's.
Can we just admit that during this COVID shutdown, that pro wrestling has basically turned every plot line into involving someone's car?
In some way.
Basically.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of rental cars or cars in general. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And not the cool dumping cement into Vince McMahon's Corvette and making the car explode. No, it's mom's minivan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Definitely the time where cars are playing a major role in these storylines. Followed by and DJP had a match with Chris Bay and Rohit Raju, and Rohit actually had a nice new intro. It was pretty cool. He doesn't come out to the ones we're used to seeing him come out with when he was with the group, but that was a good match. And wow, and DJP actually got the win. So over Chris Bay in that particular match. So that's going to probably set that up for an X Division title coming up soon. And it's a great match, man. I what was the reason why? Can you guys kind of remind me, why did TJP get released from WWE? Is it just because he's not a big guy?
No, that was a kind of a sketchy situation. Yeah.
Okay. Because it was just weird as to why he's just so talented that I didn't remember what led to that dismissal. So okay.
I mean, dude's a stud.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, great match there. But again, what Simon Street was hinting to how they ended the match and ended the show. I'm sorry, and how the show ended with Rich Swann coming to the ring and pretty much announcing his retirement. And main reason why is because his leg again got injured by Eric Young, of course, during the Slammiversary.
Before that.
Yes, before that. And he had been out for, I think it was since January before Slammiversary, and he had been working to get himself back together, and then he became a part of that 5-man title doing Slammiversary, and yeah, Eric Young just took that leg out, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And apparently, he says he went to the doctor, and they said it's a wrap. So he came and did a retirement. All the guys that were in the building came out. Guys and gals came to the ring and gave him the proper leave off. And of course, as he now was walking up the ramp to give his final salute, to turn around, Eric Young runs out and attacks that leg again. So, and that was pretty much how the show ended. Overall, though, I thought it was a good show. And it's funny because, our great king told me, I can't wait to hear what you got to say about Impact Wrestling this week, because it was just shitty. I just don't get it, man. I don't see what he's missing from me. What is he looking for? Is he looking for?
He missed the whole damn show. That's what it was. He didn't watch the goddamn show. He was in the middle of Thailand.
I just get confused sometimes, man. I'm just like, what's going on? Anyways, that's Impact Wrestling. Good stuff. Let's jump over into Wednesday, though, and WWE NXT. I've been talking a lot. I'm going to go over here and let either Sin City or maybe you, Matt Michaels, anything that really stood out to you for this show that you were impressed with, or maybe you was like, why are they doing this?
All I have to say is Pat McAfee.
Yes.
Pat McAfee. I mean, the whole storyline, the storyline has been pretty amazing so far. And it really shows that, when you have somebody that is an actual fan of the product and a fan of the business, when they have a cross-sport appeal, and that WWE or AEW or whatever company is utilizing them to their fullest, when somebody is a legitimate fan that, in Pat's case, he even had a couple of indie matches like under his belt, but no, like he is a legitimate athlete. And, they hyped up the fact that he was one of the best punters in his day. And, just utilizing his feet, it's smart. It's really well done. And hats off to everybody involved, between, the people writing it, and Pat and also Adam Cole. And
I'm sorry.
It was just good shit, man. Hey, the thing is, I'm not afraid to say when NXT does something right. That's something that I feel separates me from certain people that refuse to give NXT credibility, or any kind of shine, I should say.
I think
I just got to ask the question. Did you mean to make a pun? You said utilize his feet because he's a punter?
Yes, I did.
I was like, what the hell?
Thank you.
See, but that's the whole thing that's amazing, is that you can take a punter and you can do something with him. The reality check is, like I said last week, I wasn't too familiar with who it was. And it's like, okay, now it sets in. It's like, okay. The brilliant part, though, is that you have Adam Cole working him, because that is the key. As good as Pat is, the reason he looks so good is because Adam Cole is one of the best fucking psychological guys, period. And that segment, that whole thing, it was beautifully done to the point where it distracted enough from the match where, Kyle turns to look, and that's where, Fish gets taken out. Very smart. Number two, having McAfee attack Cole then as brutally as he did, and being an outsider, and we know that in wrestling outsiders work, that it sets up those guys to be baby faces.
Exactly.
And potentially even maybe take that unit and start breaking the unit apart. You know?
Well, what I was thinking that this was going to segue them into is bumping them up to the main roster, because you have to know that people aren't going to boo them on the main roster when they get the call and they start hopefully on SmackDown. People are going to want to cheer them, so it's at least smart that they're not fighting that. And I think that this just makes for a good segue for them to get that call.
I would even potentially don't bring them up as a group. Bring up one, bring up another, and then eventually they'll find themselves together again. You know, instead of blowing your load again with something that we've seen now. For so long.
Hello.
That's the disadvantage of factions, right? You keep them together too long, there's that inevitability that the act becomes stale. And so bringing them up individually could be a possibility. But god damn, two things stuck out. One, Shawn Michaels has the greatest look now.
He does.
I thought it was Eric Young, right?
He looks like a hunter, like an actual hunter now.
Right. And number two, speaking of Hunter, Pat McAfee took two legitimate fucking pushes from Hunter.
Yes.
And it was brutal.
Yeah, it was.
It was just like, fuck, because you know that, it was just like, yeah, do whatever you need to do. And boy, you got to give him credit for taking that shit because, man, Hunter's a strong dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's good shit. I mean, that is good shit. The other things in the show, you had some, what a way to open the show,
Oh, yeah.
I think that you're finding that, again, the women's division is incredible. That idea of Martinez going against Ripley,
Brilliant.
yeah, it's gold. It's gold, man.
Yes.
And she bloodied her up, man.
Yeah.
Bloody fucking nose. It's good stuff. Overall, again, the thing with NXT is that week in and week out, the show delivers.
Absolutely.
Keith Lee, come on, man. Come on. When Keith Lee turns around and you got Karrion Kross on that screen, and then they show the destruction and back.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where you finally go, oh, okay. So they've gotten smart where it's not bring someone in and then they got to earn their title contendership. Here it is. I'm just laying down the law. I'm just going to kill everyone until you give me the opportunity.
Basically, yeah.
And with that type of strength, even a loss in a title match with Keith Lee, which I think it's set up right now where Karrion, if you give Kross the belt, then you can bring Keith Lee up. Because at this point, Keith Lee really needs to still be in NXT. But I can tell you damn straight right now, there is a faction on Raw I would love to see Keith Lee in.
I don't know.
There would be a powerhouse for sure.
Yeah, he'd be a powerhouse, but he like a teddy bear. He like Impact. He might look mean and big, but he like a teddy bear, man. You start talking to him, you just want to give him a hug. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you.
Keith Lee is a nice dude. He's gonna have to do some shit if he's gonna be part of the Hurt business, because business is popping.
No, those are all those were good points though, and once again, I can't throw this down King Lucky's face, but Cameron Grimes, he's just showing again just how great he really is to just to see his performance.
You forget one thing about King Lucky, and that is his whole thing is everyone's got to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And he loses sight what people who actually know wrestling, who have been involved in wrestling in some form or another, the most respected wrestlers are those people who, when they're in the ring, they make you look good.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with actors.
Lance Storm.
Any type of performers, you know, look, hey, the Rolling Stones have been around forever. Keith Richards gets all the attention for guitar, but Ron Woods makes him look good. And that's the thing. You have to have people around you to make you look good. Cameron Grimes is listen, if he was to go right now to any other company, he goes almost top right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy his work. I really do. Even now, to every time he comes on and he says that same damn line, "You messing with Cameron Grimes? I'm going to the moon!" Woo! I fucking love it. Mostly because it makes King Lucky cringe. But
Yes.
it's freaking amazing because I can count on him to entertain me. And I think one of the announcers, if I'm not mistaken, one of them said, he's like a fly that just won't go away. And that's the embodiment of his character. He's the fly that won't go. How many times have y'all tried to kill one fucking fly in your damn house and he won't? You ain't never caught him.
Yep.
That's Cameron Grimes. Perfect.
Agreed.
I'm going to mention two other parts of the show that's worth mentioning. But going back to Pat McAfee, I love the line. He's an angry elf. Love that. I love that entire segment. I think I went back and I watched it at least a couple more times just to that, because it was just great. And what was and just because I didn't get a chance to mention my thoughts on that segment. What I love most about it too is that although you knew something was going to happen at the end, the whole show was all based around bringing the unity again of the Undisputed Era, and it was going to start back with them winning the titles. So everything was about them starting off with the titles again, and that's what you were concentrating on. That actually happened. So it kind of, everything. It just kind of all came together well. Like, shout out to the writers on that one. I gotta give them props, just overall.
And give credit to Imperium, man.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That was a good match.
Yeah.
Yes.
A very good match.
They're holding it down even without having Walter there. I mean, if all this COVID gets settled, I mean, they could just jump right back into it and be just as strong as they before all of them left. Because those two are
the original plan, wasn't it? Wasn't that the original plan that Imperium was basically just going rough shop all through NXT? I kind of feel like before COVID, that's what they were setting up for them to just be just this dominant force, rough shop over Undisputed Era, or at least
that's what it would have turned Undisputed Era babies.
Yeah.
The 4-on-4, so yeah, I mean, you have a lot to look forward to if stuff becomes normalized again.
Absolutely. Fandango, was he abducted by the Santo Escobar at some point and then brought back?
Well, after they smushed his head in the goddamn car door. Was it his head or his whole body? I didn't know. He got a hard ass head, so we knew he was going to survive. But
what a fucking promo!
Yeah, right. What they are fired, by the way.
Yeah,
they are fired. And might I say, this is where I wish King Lucky was fucking here. You have a great 3-man faction where the centerpiece is the cruiserweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking working. Their whole angle of you've disrespected the history and integrity of lucha libre, and they're just, I love it, and in fact, we should all pitch in to get Lucky a shirt of this faction when they come up with their faction shirt. We should all get him one. When is his birthday coming up? They're already passed. They're already passed. Yeah. But we'll get him one in February. They'll still be here.
Last thing to mention, there was a triple threat: Damian Priest, Oni, and Ridge Holland. I'm not familiar with Ridge Holland too much. Overall, though, it was a great match, and Damian Priest is found himself being one step closer to trying to get a title match. But what do you guys think of those that triple threat match with those three? Anything in particular? Not a big fan.
I mean, it was a solid match. I mean, nothing was overly stand out in there. The right guy won. That's the best thing that I can say.
Gotcha.
And it was a good showcase for Holland. I mean, he was on NXT UK.
Okay.
But so it was a good showcase for him. And I know that they ran a vignette for him the week before. Just kind of hyping him up a little bit. But just seeing, his first match in NXT being a 3-way to, get him back into, or to get him possibly into the ladder match, tells me that they're at least going to be pushing him as a solid mid-carder. So I'm cool with it.
Back to our, when we talk about our Facebook chat that we have going on, or Zoom chat. Well, yeah, it's on our chat. I'm sorry. Tristan is in there, and shout out to him. He says, hey, Priest is winning it all. The rocket is strapped on.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that, too.
The only thing he has against them is age.
Yes. Which
So
honestly is why I think that they're going to pull the trigger on him early with this for that reason specifically, to give him, ample time to be in the sun with the title.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he's what, 30, 36, 37 or something like that? How old is he?
I know that he's in his upper 30s.
I think he's 38. I think he's the same age as me. I think he's 38.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Father Time is undefeated though.
But you know what? I will say this, and maybe again I'm partial to this, but I'm saying, like, I think a lot of it, an older person, a veteran, I guess you could say, may not be able to do the work ethic, but things are changing now. There's a lot of things that are out now to where people can't sustain longer. I mean, obviously, you probably have to make smarter choices. Obviously, probably change up your style. That shit that he did at the last takeover, falling off the back and into the steps. If you fucking getting close to 40, them days is over. I mean, if you want to do some shit like PCO, by all means, but he's like on a whole nother level of indestructibility.
He is not human after all.
He is not human.
Yeah, Punishment Martinez.
Yeah.
Damian Priest is 38. So
that's what I thought.
And you know what? It's not even look at his body. He's in good shape.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how his injury history, figures into his body, but as a whole, when you think about it, you're thinking about roughly in 12 years he's 50 years old. So the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is still be trying to reach the top of the mountain at 50 years old. And a guy like PCO, because he's not human, he is an oddity, man.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the thing that I think that Damian Priest has working for him in that respect is that he does not look 38 years old.
Not at all.
Not in the slightest. So, I mean, them working this angle where, they've teased, vampirism with his character and stuff like that. I mean, it works because he is old. He is much older than he looks. So, yeah.
Well, also too, if you think about it, there's much more to him other than his ring prowess. I mean, he's very good with his promos. Like I enjoy, and to be honest with you, the shit he does with his sunshades, I'm like, God damn, motherfucker, that shit is cool. Like, he just puts on his sunshade, takes it off real quick, talks with a deep voice like this, and it's just like, man, dude, that's fire right there, man.
Who knows though? Just remember, Damian Priest, when he was Punishment Martinez, he ditched a title to one Jeff Cobb. So
that's true.
Could we possibly see? Can we possibly see that matchup down the line again? Maybe in NXT.
That would be amazing.
I'd be on board with that.
100%.
Fellas, let's jump over now into AEW, our other Wednesday night show. Of course, they kicked it off with a 12-man. I'm convinced it's going to be a 20-man, a 30-man.
Well, obviously.
Straight out war on the football field again. But
yeah.
10 on each side.
Yeah. But yeah, they start off with that. FTR, Young Bucks, Heyman, and Omega versus the Dark Order. What's your guys' take on the show? Or you can even start from that particular match there. Good stuff?
Yeah, I really liked that match. I thought that it was a good way to kick off the show. It was a ton of stuff going on. You can hate on it all you want, Michaels.
He threw shade from the onset.
From the jump, he was like, "Fuck this! I don't want to hear one positive word being spoken about this match." Ah. But no, like I thought it was a good match. It was a good way to start the show, if nothing else. And you know, it helps to kick off a show with a multi-person match, or you know, a multi-person tag team match in this case, because it almost always provides for, you know, a good degree of offense on both sides. Typically, there's some chicanery involved, and it leaves people wanting more for the rest of the show. And I think that definitely accomplished all of those things.
More for the rest of the show? I don't mind when it's, you know, something that kind of here's the problem. The Dark Order. Just fucking end it. Just end it. Just end it. Because really, honestly, what was at stake in that match? The only thing possible that looks like they might hint at is Dark Order trying to lure Omega in. But otherwise, like, dude, and DJ Impact, do you think you could take that finisher from Brody Lee? So we the other day had to go back and watch slow-mo about 3, 4, 5 times, and Taz saves it by calling it a discus clothesline. But if Page didn't whip his head back violently, it was very weak. Now JBL, that's a clothesline from hell.
Yes,
Brody Lee, that's a hey, we're still choreographing shit. And that's one thing they still need to get out of.
Yeah, I totally thought that he just missed him. And because I looked at that like, wait, he didn't even hit him. And so I must have went back and rewinded at least 3 or 4 times and played it slow just to see if there was some sort of connection. And I barely see one, but you know, Michaels did. I mean, it was right, the fact that Taz, you know, called that out to save that, because other than that, it just looked too it almost looked too choreographed, because you didn't see the connect. I didn't see the connection of that move. So, and overall, I mean, the match was all right, but how it ended is that part I was questioning.
Well, I was interested in it as well, because, you know, you had, you know, one of the members of, you know, FTR go down, and I, you know, kind of thinking back when I saw that, I was like, I feel like they're trying to drive a wedge between the AEW tag champions. You know, they obviously love the drinking buddy, Hangman, and Kenny Omega is goddamn milk. And once every blue moon, I pretend I'm gonna drink a beer, looking ass. You know, he was in the ring by himself, and Dark Order was, you know, tearing him apart for a while, you know what I mean? And I thought they were going to go that way of separating him and manipulating. But then, you know, you had one half of, you know, the Young Bucks do the same exact thing. So it's like, it didn't seem cohesive, like it was delivering the point to it. It looked great, minus Brody Lee's finish. and that's the problem with the Dark Order, I feel. And I feel confident to kind of say it. I feel like the Dark Order could be something cool, you know, but I feel like they're missing a step.
I agree.
You know, I just feel like there's something that's missing, and it's not Brody Lee so much. I just think that where they're placing him, I'd rather them just do some crazy ass shit and take everything over at this point. You know, at least that way somebody will come in and finish them, and then we're done with it.
Well, at least we got more of them later on in the show.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of Dark Order.
Yeah, this was a very heavy Dark Order episode of Dynamite for sure.
Darkness.
Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about it. Matt Hardy. And Sammy Guevara. Now, I at first I got a little confusing because again, Matt and I was talking about it. I at first thought that Matt had actually ran into the ring post. I didn't know it was the actual chair that caused that. I thought it was the ring. But man, how I'm glad to see he's all right, but that looked pretty bad. I don't know. What do you think went wrong there, Sin City? What do you think wrong with our boy Sammy?
No, I mean I remember reading that it was supposedly like they had a gimmick chair and he grabbed the incorrect one or something. At the end of the day, when in the heat of the moment, if he grabs, you know, the non-gimmicked chair and hurls it at Matt Hardy, it was just a poor booking decision to do that stunt, in my opinion.
Steve, did you notice though, right before I think it was right before Matt goes into the ring post, he went down like this. So I think he did the gig because he did it on the left side of his head.
Okay.
When he ends up on the table, he it's not gushing. So if you have a gimmick chair, the idea then was if he gets hit with the chair, then you get a little bit of color, but a little bit of color. When you throw a still open chair that you can tell is those things must be like maybe 5 pounds or so. I mean, they're heavy, sturdy chairs. And he launched it. Matt had no protection. No, he literally, he was expecting the other chair, looks up and boom, right into, where he's already gigged. And that just created the fucking mess.
Yeah.
As I could see it. Now, I could be wrong, but I think we read the same thing, Steve, where Sammy got an earful of it when he got backstage for, being very enthusiastic and just getting caught up in the moment, and things happen. But this is the thing, when you have greener talent,
exactly,
that's what you're going to see. So it's a learning curve. And hell, you know what? Those two, it's going to be a great match.
Mm-hmm.
And especially now, boy, if next week, if they play that up, I mean, it could be use that actual emotion of, I'm pissed off at you now.
Yeah.
Well, I think Matt, I mean, I would be shocked if Matt Hardy wasn't up for utilizing that. It seems more like who he is as a person and a professional, that he would say, let's use it. You know what I mean? Let's go with it. It sucks too because, the finish, how he did, what was it, a 460 or a 360? I think it was a 460, something like that. When he ran off and went through the table, I thought that looked amazing, but again, concerned for Matt being busted open. I was just kind of like, damn.
Is that Sammy? Is that his second strike?
I would say that's a strike. That's more of a work hazard. I mean, okay. He ain't on no Nia Jack level and shit.
No, no shit.
You know what I mean? But it's for me, he made up for it later on in the night when he aided JR in the PMP. When he was doing the cue cards, I thought that was some slick ass shit. Because normally when JR says, "Well, let's go to PMP, coming now," and I just, okay, let me go grab some food or a drink. That's the new bathroom break for me, unless it's a good match. But Sammy comes out, he's talking about, hey, Orange Cassidy, I stayed and watched, missed my damn bathroom break. Almost had to be like Sin City Steve and use my 24-ounce water bottle to pee. Nah, I'm messing.
Bitch.
The sickest you know.
Now, was that Trent's mama van that they came in?
Nah, that's his mama's van.
Mama's van.
Nah, that's his mama's van, man.
That's funny.
That look kind of like
wow. That's funny. Well, it looked like Santana and Ortiz. They really messed up his mama van. I mean, they went to town on that. When did they have time to take the wheels off?
You know what's sad?
They don't need time.
You know what?
They don't need time.
For them, they don't need time.
Snap
They
your
know
fingers, they're gone.
But you know what's so sad? I didn't know that their record sucked that bad. 7-5, now 8-5. I'm like, God damn. And they was one of the hottest tag teams coming into AEW. So I'm pretty sure there's somewhere they're going with that. I hope, because they kind of tarnish in that name.
I read a comment somewhere on one of these sites that said somebody was saying that they need to go back to Impact. Yeah. Just because they're not, I guess, holding their own, whoever made that, So, but yeah, that van got destroyed. As we were talking about earlier, this seems to be the year of cars being destroyed for segments, and that was just another one. So, Orange Cassidy, Jericho. The debate 2020. And we finally got a chance to see the man talk. I didn't think he knew how to talk. I'm just joking with you.
Well, because you didn't know him before. You didn't know him before he got to AEW. So I would.
Well, look, I did know he talked, but I'm just joking around with the idea, But yeah,
way better than our debates that we've had in this country.
And before we even could talk about the actual debate itself, how about the moderator of the debate?
Yes.
Mr. Eric Bischoff. He's back on TNT, folks. I can't believe it.
He looked about as irritable as Matt Michaels when we run the show too fucking long.
Bischoff always looks that way.
Yes, he does.
That's, you know what? But here's the fascinating thing.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, Vince put him in a creative control position. The problem is that both those guys, as successful as they were, as creative as they have in terms of minds, their biggest contributions to wrestling are their on-air personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why it is, but Eric Bischoff, I could just watch all day.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I ain't gonna lie. When I at one point wanted to just hear that theme. I'm back and better than ever. I'm just
Hey, can you do me?
Are we gonna have to have a recurring weekly segment where DJ Impact sings karaoke of old wrestling things?
Hold on, Sin City Steve, with them white slippers on.
Dude, I'm down.
Lord.
With them white slippers.
I am down.
Stop
Coming
it.
soon to the Patreon.
There you go. DJ Impact sings karaoke.
Overall, though, good debate, though, right? I mean, that was a great segment leading up to their match next week. And does Cassidy, does he win?
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
He should.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless they're planning one more. So unless this is the lead up to the blow off at the pay-per-view, there's no reason. I think at this point, what you do is you have them go over, but it's through DQ or some reason other than at a clean pin. And then you have a blow off where Cassidy gets the clean pin over Jericho.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great match. I mean, in the match, I think I said before, is very monumental because you have Jericho, who represents, the older guard, And then you have Cassidy, who is the newer guard, which is like our younger generation. Even his whole character is that of the younger generation. We got our hands in our pockets. We're not trying to do too much work if we don't have to. And you old people just do too much work to make the same amount of dollars I could do for half the effort. I love it. Maybe I'm the only person that sees it that way, but it's fucking amazing. I love it.
Absolutely. And he answered the question about global warming, which I'm sure no one else could answer the question. So shout out to him for answering a great question there. Other parts on the show, we have Darby Allin, right? And Moxley. What's your take on that particular match, fellas? Did you enjoy that match there? Or was
I did.
it was just kind of whatever?
I thought it was better than the first time that they wrestled.
Okay.
Their first match came across very lackluster, to be honest. This time came across more of a big deal, and it felt like as if it was more important. So the two guys told a great story. I can't fault them for what they did in the ring. Great match.
I like the cutout mask that he came out with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The hardest, I think one of the hardest obstacles, and you're going to see AEW do this a lot because of the fact that they're still establishing a roster and trying to feel out how their program, works. It's really hard when you go face versus face.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and on top of that, you have two faces who are both anti-establishment faces.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a very similar mix. If it was, say, Orange Cassidy versus Moxley, that's a little easier to mesh and, kind of give it a little direction. So I'll give them credit. Like Steve said, it's a better, it was a better mix this time. Personally, I think that I just want to see Darby Allin as a fucking heel.
Yes, same here.
Mm.
I think that'll happen.
Yeah.
There'll be something that causes him to turn. So I definitely see that happening. I think the reason why they haven't turned him yet is because of the fact that his character has resonated with so many people in the younger demographic. And they didn't want to abandon that pursuit of that demographic yet. That's the only reason why he hasn't turned heel. I guarantee it.
So I also want to, I agree on that point in the sense that he does resonate. So what I do is I turn him heel, and now he's that much more valuable in that age range.
Yeah, because right now he's already caught fire. So, I mean, why not do the switch now? And they're going to follow anyway. It's like moths to the flame.
Because of the fact that he's, he is exactly what the youth will gravitate to.
Mm-hmm.
Why was Austin so popular? Because he was anti-establishment, and that was perfect for that age range right at that time. Darby Allin could be very, very, money to this company if they get him to the point where he just resonates because he is so anti. It's kind of what they're trying to do with Moxley. That's why I said it's tough with those two, is because you have kind of the same characters on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, it's again definition of characters. That's going to take time, man. It's going to take time to get it.
Well, on our Facebook chat, Tristan had another really good comment. He said, "Have Darby cost Moxley the title." It kind of goes along with what you're saying, because then, you're pulling the trigger on him turning heel, which then, I believe whatever direction he wants to go into, the youth's going to come. Like Sin City Steve said. I mean, the dude I love watching him. I love his work.
And I can't wait to see that skateboard used
Yes.
as a heel object.
As a heel weapon.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
The first time that is gigged so that it breaks. If you think about a skateboard, it's an unbreakable type of item
Mhm.
when it comes to hitting someone with it. So man, if he hits someone in the head and that thing just shatters, I mean, he's going to be instant heat for those people who love baby faces, and instant stardom for those people who love the bad guy.
Yeah. It's like perfect
Speaking
wrestling
of-
science.
Speaking of, do you go ahead and pull the trigger with MJF taking the title?
100%. He's ready.
Well, I think to anyone who's listening to this right now, please, if you're watching, stay tuned. If you are listening to this on the podcast, please tune in tomorrow, because on 3 Count, we'll actually talk about that very topic. But very entertaining. Is that poster is not perfectly straight.
Right.
If you didn't use what was on the freaking ground, that was awesome.
And why would he look like the guy was pulling out green? What were they? Green Skittles or something out of that? I
Yeah,
don't even know if you caught it. He was pulling actually the green Skittles out. It was so funny.
Well,
Out of that.
he was probably getting it ready for MJF. Probably requested that he have no Skittles,
Right,
or something like that.
Which is the takeoff of the classic, writer gimmick from the '80s with certain rock stars asking for only green M&Ms or whatever. And yeah, so I thought that was really well done too.
I like how he told old girl that you're not smiling or something like, if you're not smiling, you're fired or canned or something. Or I don't know what he told her. I was dying because he is a likable asshole.
You'd love to hate him.
Yeah.
You'd love to hate him.
Just a couple other matches. There was Cody and Matt Cardona was there. Again, it was with the Dark Order once again. Yeah, there was Big Swole and Reba. And that pretty much.
Does Reba even wrestle?
So she was in TNA, and
Was she? I don't know.
Yeah, she was in TNA. She was also a part of one of the damn worst matches in the history of mankind against Shelly Martinez. So I highly recommend you, if you're a glutton for punishment, going and actively seeking that match out. So
what is she good for? What is she good for? I'm sorry to say it like that. I don't be disrespectful. I'm just saying, what is she good for?
I don't know.
What name did she go by in
Rebel.
TNA? Rebel? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I might look that one up. Rebel and Shelly Martinez.
Shelly Martinez.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what, I can't wait.
It was given -5 stars by Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer.
Wow.
-5 stars.
They didn't know there was a minus category.
In the Tokyo Dome.
It was in the Tokyo Dome?
No. But if it was in the Tokyo Dome, it would have been a 4-star match,
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Well, I tell you what, I'm excited. I can't wait till Britt Baker, MD or DD, whatever the hell her name is.
MD,
yeah, the dentist chick. I can't wait to ask wrestling, man, because I'm telling you what, I'm so sick and tired of her talking shit. I want to see her in Big Swole. I want to see it.
You ready?
I'm ready. I'm already ready.
Are you ready?
Fuck you. You almost got me to say it. That was some slick shit.
Are you ready though?
I'm ready to go to the next goddamn question. Let's go.
I think it's time.
All right.
That was really good.
Are y'all ready to have a good time?
That's right. SmackDown, folks. And so again, we got a chance to get some more glitches from the show happening, and we figured out why. But before we get to that, we got that was a good match with Sheamus and Riddle. What'd you guys think? I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, Riddle is definitely showing that he can, hang with the big dogs in the matches, which we never had any doubt that he couldn't. But overall, that was a really good match. And what happened? Shorty G, King's Lucky's favorite, gets involved and end up causing Sheamus the match. with that. And then it kind of led to some conversation in the back with Corbin and Sheamus. Two heels having some issues with one another. And although a fight looked like it could have happened backstage, there was a match then with Corbin and Jeff. And then Sheamus interfered. So we see definitely where that is set up. Do you guys like to see where that's going? Or do you like the idea of Corbin and a Sheamus type of match or battle coming soon?
Only if their relationship is that of Megatron and Starscream. Somebody got to be the punk, and somebody got to be the big baddie.
Mm-hmm.
For both of them to be on the same level, I ain't buying it. Did that make sense what I was saying? I'm being honest. I need somebody to be underhanded, sneaky, you know what I mean? Always doing some shit, but blaming on somebody else. It probably would be Corbin with his ass. But
it's Corbin. I mean, that seems to be that for whatever fucking reason, they might be starting to go face with Sheamus. But Sheamus was over huge as a face.
He was. He was.
The interesting thing is that, if I'm not mistaken, was it ever brought up that Sheamus was king?
Well, he did win a King of the Ring, didn't he?
Yeah, no, but
I don't think that they mentioned that.
Yeah,
no, they haven't.
Which I felt was the first shot of them backstage, and they're looking at each other, they're face to face. I'm like, why the fuck is Sheamus not, telling him, hey kid, before you became king, there was another king,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they'll start heading that way. Brucey, come on, I know you're watching.
You know what they should do? They should call it the Battle of the Bastards. Bet you that's never been done before.
No, it hasn't, but this has. So anyway.
God.
Well, we also got to watch the Dirt Sheet. Okay. And there was an interview with Mandy's hair. I don't know. I will say this, that I'm all for foolishness. Now that I saw how it ended up, I had a better response for that than before as it was happening. I was going, this is just absolutely ridiculous. But
why?
it seems suitable because it just is. There's hair moving around with glasses on there, and they're imitating the voices. It's just ridiculous. It's stupid. Okay, it's not even comparable to Wrestle House. Okay, and I'm up for a good entertainment. All right, but again, after you finish it, after you finish it up and everything, you go, okay, I guess I can roll with that. But I don't know. It was just. But then again, I'm like, this is probably what Fox wants, right? They like that. They go, I like that hair talking. Perfect. That's
and
great.
Even if
That's
Fox doesn't, you know who does?
Yeah, there's one
Vince
person.
McMahon. Let's have the hair
That's
talk.
such good shit.
Yes.
The biggest problem is it went long. It went long.
Maybe that was what it was.
If it was shorter, it would have been totally fine, because Sonya Deville comes out, and
Yeah.
I mean, again, you're talking a fucking. How are you going to use all these women? You're going to have to give them their own show, man. She's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yep.
I want to see her in the next Wonder Woman movie. I've decided. I want to see her be in Amazon. Like, to be honest with you, I could fall in love with Sonya Deville and know that she'll never look my direction, because she's just a beautiful woman. She has great charisma. I mean,
she's got wonderful chemistry with Miz, and that would be kind of a cool thing to see her do the Marine 7, because that's been a vehicle for giving some of the talent and opportunity, and Miz has been solid holding that franchise down. So that a person who would be awesome. More acting gigs for her. She's good, man.
Yeah,
that's a great call.
I agree.
That's a great call.
And Mandy, oh my God! Finally, the haircut. Woof.
Well, I was trying to get a really good look at her. She was just
Didn't look too
all
bad.
up on.
Didn't look too bad.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, she don't have the long Goldilocks no more. Looking like Dukes of Hazzard. Well, she still look like Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, she's still a bombshell. Long hair, short hair. She's Mandy. But
listen, mom jeans never look so good in the ring.
I did have a question though. So after the Fiend comes out, they go to commercial, they come back, and Alexa Bliss is in the ring in the same position again. I was a little confused at that. I don't know why. It would just because I almost thought for a minute, like, am I watching last week's what they're about to do over? Like, I really did. Like, how did she get there? Why is she in that same situation again?
Because she's having to repeat the drama.
Yeah. But it was just.
That's what I looked at it as.
Yeah.
But did you notice it was a little more seductive?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The transformation's happening.
Yeah.
Transformations.
Possible.
That's going to be weird to see her in a seductive, sexy way. Because and maybe I'm being naive when I say this. I'm so used to seeing her be, I think her first gimmick in NXT was the Pixie Princess, whatever. And then when she got to the main roster, she was like, like the mean girl type thing. I've never really seen her in a, sexy, sultry type of way. I wonder what that's going to look like.
Way better than Sasha Bay.
Oh my gosh.
I noticed I'm going to call her Sasha Bay from now on because of your dumbass.
What? I don't know. You glitched. What?
I'm going to call her Sasha Bay from now on because you're dumbass.
Sasha Bay. Hey, somebody got to have a boss, and that's my boss.
Absolutely. Well, look, so everything then came down to what the hell is going on with these lights and this microphone. Apparently, there's some retribution. Guys came out of nowhere, and gals, bats, and ran the announcers out. Some of the audience got caught up. There was a oh my God, spray paint. I don't know. They just ramshacked the entire performance center, or at least that ring there was, and everything around it. Retribution. I haven't read anything. I'm sure everyone's probably have read that they know who this is and what this is and why they're doing it and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But just from what we saw that night, what was your take on it after it was all done? You were still, the screen went off and it went black before it went to the next commercial. You were still staring. What was in your mind at that point? Let's go.
Oh shit. That one girl in the crowd, that looked really it was on the edge. some scary looking shit a little bit. Maybe I'm being soft on it, I don't know. But I really want to play the let's play that classic game we played as kids, the Guess Who game. Because as some of them were talking, I was trying to immediately think of who the fuck are these people?
Well, you can't play that if you've already been going through reading it, and you probably already know. But if you haven't done that, then now why not play the game and see who you think it might be?
Will it work? That's my final thing. Will it work?
Look, I thought it was pretty, and I think the point was made. It was pretty impressive. It looked damaged. It looked real. It looked like something really was happening. It didn't look, make believe or whatever. I mean, it looked like they really was there to make a point. They were pissed off at something, and the Monday night when they showed the video outside of them setting the power source, I guess, on fire, and then they were cheering. That right there looked a little goofy, that part. But Saturday, I mean, on SmackDown, on that particular, all of it was like legit. Like none of it seemed silly. It seemed like it was just some serious shit happening there. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Sin City or Matt Michaels? What was your take when you saw, after it went off air and you were still staring? What was in your mind when you saw that?
I was a lot more optimistic than what I was after seeing what happened with Raw.
Okay.
I after what we saw at the end of Raw, I was just like, what the fuck? This is completely something that they are hot-shotting and trying to throw on the wall to see what sticks. And the thing is, at the end of the day, they're being creative. You can't really fault them for trying things, especially in times like this. This is a time where they should, throw some things against the wall just to see what sticks. So I can't fault them for that. Needless to say, after Raw, I was a little bit, I wasn't looking forward to what was going to be happening necessarily, but after SmackDown, they made it seem a little bit more realistic in a way. I'm more optimistic seeing what happened with SmackDown than what I was after Raw, for sure.
Yeah.
Was it just me, or did one of the voices sound like Xavier Woods?
I'm not sure.
A little bit, but I was looking at his eyes, and it didn't seem like it was Xavier. Not that I know Xavier's eyes, but you could obviously see skin color.
That was something else that came to my mind, and I have not read who the identities of these people are.
Me neither. I don't want to actually.
I want to stay in the dark with this as much as I can, because whenever shit like this goes down, I always get fucking spoiled. And largely it's because of an individual that's not here right now to defend himself.
Can we find a way to mute him though?
Honestly though, this is one of those instances where I wouldn't mind being a fan and not knowing in advance, and actually having a genuine surprise.
Yep.
I didn't say mute me, Michaels. I said, is there a way to mute Lucky?
Be careful what you wish for, Simon.
Anyway, the thing about there's a couple different things. You're talking about a group of people, 5 people, who we have for one of the first times, you're not looking at people who you immediately go, those people are professional wrestlers. Those body types are just ambiguous body types.
Yeah.
So you can't necessarily go, oh, that's so-and-so and that's so-and-so.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is very, very, they're doing the rioting and looting that is going on today in our society.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, we're going to find out who's behind this.
Mm.
And, that's the endless possibility. And not necessarily who are those people, but who is behind it. Right? Yeah. So basically, it's the Dark Order.
WWE style.
WWE style, exactly. That's
the Darker Order.
Yeah, essentially.
We'll call it the Black Circle.
But
I'm glad you're the one that said that, not me.
It's just a circle.
So, but I think that that's the big point. The big point is people are going to give it shit because they're going to call it cheesy. They're going to say this and say that and whatnot.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, until you see what the the end product is,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't judge. Don't judge it yet. Judge it.
Yeah.
If it fails, it fails. But like Steve said, it's creative.
Yep.
It's something that we haven't seen.
It was
And
a chainsaw in the ring.
Now
That was cool. That was cool.
See, and that's one of those things that anytime you hear a chainsaw, it's automatically grabs your attention, right?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was waiting for Leatherface to just be like,
Chainsaw Charlie.
Chainsaw Charlie. Yeah. I mean, it's a great gimmick to do, bring out a chainsaw. And then to go ahead and chainsaw the ropes, that was great. I was really hoping, instead of just flipping over the table, I was really hoping they were going to blow it up.
Like set it on fire or something.
Set it on fire or something like that. I think that's the one thing that they missed out on, is they didn't go far enough in the destruction of the performance center as they were going off the air. So you could even maybe not have actually set it on fire, but had them with cans of gasoline starting to douse the performance center, and leave that like, what the fuck, and have it like literally just go to pattern. That would have been just like, oh shit, and then have shit on WWE on their website the whole weekend saying they're, show, pictures of like oddly burned out things, and to give that perception of this was really not a planned thing. This was, we don't know who the fuck these people are, and this is really, look, $1 million performance center has been trashed by these individuals. And as far as and then that gives you the next step, which is what I'm assuming they're probably going to do, is there should be total security all around the performance center for this whole week.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if shit still happens, then we know it's someone on the inside.
Oh. Well, let me ask you this question, because the one thing I thought about as I was seeing all this is who's going to be the hero that deliver us from this chaos? Not saying I'm trying to guess who it is, but I'm saying, will it be somebody new that they're bringing in, or someone don't call it the what?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. if his ass can fucking get there, I expect Kanye West to show up before his ass shows up. Talking about, someone told me I could divorce Kim Kardashian if I saved the performance center.
That's hilarious.
No, but I'm curious to see, because with every chaos type of storyline like this, there's a hero that arises, and it works better when it's somebody.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's an attack against
who?
Shane McMahon.
I just said Vince McMahon. I was like, oh please, no.
Actually, no.
Let's take.
No, actually, I could see Shane McMahon being the one behind it all.
Yeah.
You know what, Steve? I'll up you.
I like that.
I'll up you one.
The whole fucking family.
Shane McMahon's oldest son.
Ooh.
Okay.
Doing a play like he did with his father with WCW, but stepped it up one notch.
Well, Dad didn't pay much attention to him when he was growing up. He was more interested in the business. He's doing this shit like Raw Underground and trying to be edgy and stuff. And it's like, no, I got a voice. Fuck you guys. Now, I think the kid's probably only 15 right now. So,
well, there's that.
Not him.
Minor details.
Well, everybody's kid's about to come up.
We could. Who says that it actually has to be Shane's kid? I mean, for fuck's sake, Hornswoggle's Vince McMahon's son. According to WWE canon, anyway.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting.
But that brings to another thing that we just kind of brushed over, and that is Braun Strowman is finally going to be a fucking monster.
Yes, I'm super excited for that.
For a guy who got so fucking stale, this is intriguing. And if it's what if it's Braun's guys? What if Braun just started a cult or something like that? Doubt it, but you know, they finally are starting to get some interesting stories going here.
Yeah.
You know, and
thank God.
You know, listen, even with Mandy and Otis, I mean, and Sonya and everything that's going on with them, it feels at least a little more cohesive that we're not just seeing matches.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This whole COVID era has provided, I think, just wrestling across the board, doesn't matter what promotion you look at, giving people an opportunity to be more creative, to, you know, utilize more resources than what they normally had, and we're getting some good shit. Not all of it's been great, but we've been getting good stuff.
Well, good stuff, guys. That's our wrestling talk. What is that? I can't see what that is.
That's his alarm that he set. That's his alarm he set for 5-minute warning. Simon Street, shut the hell up. DJ Impact, wrap us up.
That's funny. Okay, so yes, that is our wrestling talk, and we're gonna get right into our 3 count. But before we do that, I'm gonna put somebody on the spot. I'm gonna let it be you, Sin City, because I know you would do this really well. Just for the time being, tell everybody why they should download our new app.
All right. So, long story short is this. Your favorite MMA and pro wrestling podcast has now become your favorite app. All that you have to do is go to your app store or the Google Play Store and download the Vegas Bad Boys podcast app. Long story short, from inside of the app, you'll be able to listen to any podcast that we've ever done. Any of them, even going all the way back to the beginning, back before I was a part of this shit. Okay. That's saying something. Also, you'll be able to go with one click. You'll be able to watch any videos that we've put onto our YouTube channel. You can chat with all of us. And they even have it broken down into rooms. You know, obviously there's a WWE room, an Impact room, an AEW room, an ROH, NWA, MLW, New Japan room, and then an Indies room for here in Vegas. So FSW, Big Valley, and every other promotion that decides to run here in Las Vegas. If you want to talk about it, you can go right on into there. Versus Pro Wrestling, Ring Warriors has done stuff here, so why not get in there? You can chat with us, but also you can hit up our merch store right from the app. So if we talk about something and you love us so much that you want to support the podcast, we're only a click away. Get in there, get you a shirt, boom, you're rocking with the Bad Boys.
Absolutely. Thank you much for that. Don't forget, it's on available on iOS, which is your Apple Store, and on Android, Google. 3 count. Let's get with the topics. And let's start with our first one from denofgeek.com. It is titled, "Is MJF ready for the AEW title?" Now, what makes him write this story is he's beginning to see that AEW is finding themselves falling into the same traps as WWE. And that is the booking feels directionless and without any continuity. So let's see if he's got some points on what he's talking about here. He talks about how MJF is set to challenge Jon Moxley at the All Out pay-per-view next month. MJF is a future star, there's no doubt, but AEW has done little to get him ready for a main event push. Again, in a company where wins and losses matter, and where there are rankings and supposedly a strict system to who gets title shots and who doesn't, MJF's record just doesn't seem worth a world title match. And it says that although he hasn't been pinned or have submitted, I mean, he's only had matches against Lee Johnson, Marco Stunt, Jungle Boy, Billy Gunn, and Griff Garrison, which, you know, the question he's asking is that worthy of a top 5 ranking and an AEW world title match? So and the other wins that he's gotten back in the day against Cody or Adam Page was at Revolution or Dynamite, which were last year. So, bottom line, he says, look, it's hold on, lost my throat. Okay, so it says that being that AEW, being that it relies on these particular records and all, it's to the point that AEW should have done more on television to get MJF ready for this spot. And, you know, perhaps maybe even a more recent win over an Adam Page, you know, who's currently in the tag team anyway, or he could have beaten Cody again in a non-title match. You know, or even Dustin Rhodes or Luchasaurus, Matt Hardy, Pentagon, or Phoenix, just somebody out there would get a higher spot card to show that he is worthy for this. So it all comes down to writing. So guys, I'm just curious. We all know that MJF, when it comes down to him holding his own on that mic, he can. And even match-wise, you may even believe he has. But story-wise, being that we haven't seen a lot of matches that he won against people who hold top spots in the company, do you think he's really ready for the world title? I don't know. What do you think? Simon Street, I mean, let's go with you, man. I mean, what's your take on that?
In my opinion, I mean, it is a good point. You know, the author of this article did make a good point, you know, but only just a point. I think MJF offers so much more of the table that I think that you can kind of bypass some of that. I will say that I'd like to see him have some more matches before he gets, you know, what he deserves. But I like what he's not with so far. I mean, okay, even when he had his injury, he was still, you know, on TV. He was still a face that you saw. He still did a good job of contributing to the storyline and whatnot. And he also had an extension of himself with Wardlow, which I think really helped out a lot with keeping him on TV too. I mean, my vote is he's good. He don't need all that extra shit.
Well, you know, and I don't think, I mean, not one is not taking anything away from the idea of him being good. We all know that. But I think what the author is saying is you should at least have some sort of a presentation where it shows you're building yourself up to handle that particular title. And it almost seems like that you're going from, I mean, you rarely have matches, but when you do, they're against people who are not at a level that they should, you know, grant you that title match. So I don't know, Sin City, what's your particular take on that? You believe he's ready for this particular title match?
Without question. And especially if you look at the past track record of the people who've been challenging for the AEW World Championship. You've got people like Lance Archer coming in. You got people like Brody Lee coming in. You got people like Brian Cage coming in. Who exactly have they defeated on TV before they got their World Championship match? Okay,
good point.
Okay. So, I mean, the thing is, the way that I view this is they are taking a legitimate heel contender. And if nothing else, this could play into it. You know, oh, MJF, you haven't done shit to deserve a championship match. And then his simple response to that is, I don't give a shit. I don't have to do anything. You know, it plays into the heel being awarded a championship match for literally nothing. So I have no problems with it. And in fact, I say you put the title on him probably because you have a Darby Allin turn on Moxley. Maybe break the skateboard over Moxley's head. Michaels, you had a great idea with that. Do it. Go right on ahead with it. And if nothing else, that gets Moxley off of TV for a couple of weeks. Now, mind you, the period where Mox was in quarantine, AEW lost in the ratings to NXT. I'm just putting that out there. Okay. So it's been commented on this show that John Moxley is not a ratings driver for whatever reason. But the fact is, he was gone for a couple of weeks. He was in quarantine because of Renee. Okay. Those 2 weeks that he was at home, those just happened to be the 2 weeks that NXT beat AEW in the ratings. And you've had Moxley on the show the last couple of weeks. And what has happened? Oh, that's right. They beat the dog shit out of him in the ratings. I don't think it's
the dog shit. Come on, dude.
Yeah, the dog shit.
They beat him by 150,000 people.
Yeah,
150,000 viewers.
1,000 people. Wait. If they would have beaten them, if they would have drawn, first of all, if they would have drawn the million again, that's what they need to be drawing.
And they're closer than
great. They're closer. That's wonderful. NXT doesn't need it. AEW does need it.
Okay.
Number two, the difference of only a couple 100,000, you're not talking too much. If they would have been beating the snot out of them like WCW used to beat WWF.
Now, of course, if we're talking about the demographics, then that would be a way that people could view them as beating the dog shit out of them, because in the 18 to 49 demographic, they have been doubling or sometimes tripling NXT's numbers. But I'm just going to say
they should, and they should be.
They should be.
Be a company that did, because Young Bucks, the Bullet Club, were selling merchandise out of Hot Topic. You know, so they should be getting that fucking audience all the time. You know, that's not the problem. The problem is my fucking internet connection.
Well, I mean, you know, I wasn't going to say anything.
But you know what?
Even your internet service provider knows that you're talking out of your ass right now, so it wanted to calm down.
Not at all. Not at all. Because of the fact that, again, you show me that they're doing over 1 million constantly, then that shows the progress. All right. I mean,
so what does?
I mean, they're back to pre-pandemic levels as far as their viewership. I don't know how. Okay, so if they don't hit 1 million viewers a week, then that's a loss for them. Come on,
absolutely, now. Steve. They should have always had over 1 million views. Absolutely, they should never be dipping under 1 million. You want to talk like they're a big fucking company.
I don't.
Give me the big goddamn fucking numbers.
Dude, I have said from the fucking beginning that they are an alternative to WWE. Okay.
He has done that.
And that's what they fucking are. They're counterculture. Okay. They are not WWE. They will not be WWE for the foreseeable future. But
that's fine.
If they're beating even the third tier WWE program, then in my view, that is a win.
But you keep talking this game with a smug little fucking face of, oh, you know, well, they're beating NXT. It's NXT. The problem is it's not a competition. They need to establish their own fucking selves. And especially because the guy who signed them to the deal is no longer working for Turner as of this week. The guy who signed the contract extension to 2024 is no longer working for the network. If they don't deliver numbers for the network now, you don't have a rah-rah cheerleader behind you, Steve. They need to start building that base and keeping that number over 1 million views to stay safe. They also need to do that to build more people, newer audience. That's not what they've done so far, Steve. And we do have a great debate coming up, AEW versus WWE. So that was all done for promo, ladies and gentlemen.
Segue.
That's cute.
And with
I can't wait to watch that shit.
And with that, let's get back a little bit to our topic.
Let's get back to the topic, DJ. Let's get back to the real topic. Here's the thing, DJ. Why'd you choose this topic? This writer is just awful, man. Of course MJF deserves the title. Who the fuck cares about the record? He's the most entertaining fucking thing probably in all of wrestling right now.
So let me ask you, Matt Michaels, hold down and drink some water like Sin City Steve just did. the writer did say that hopefully, okay, everything that we ran down earlier that he's talking about with this whole situation, that hopefully this doesn't become a trend for AEW, whose booking is supposed to be strict and disciplined. Remember, okay, it's supposed to be strict and disciplined.
If the guy sells fucking money, if he sells tickets, if he sells merchandise, if he's fucking entertaining, then put him on the fucking level of the top guys, and don't worry about the fact that he's 0-6 or 2-7 or 0-0, as Steve very smartly pointed out. These guys have been put into title pictures with no fucking record. This guy who wrote this article is trash. You know what we should have been talking about is the fact that Marty Jannetty killed a gay man years ago.
Yeah.
And that's a huge news item. But this guy decided to write, not you, DJ, but the guy who wrote this had to write about MJF not being really a person for the title at this moment because his record doesn't establish it. Come on.
and I will point out that the writer of this story just happened to have the last name of McMahon. So, you know.
That is true.
And that's the guy who is behind the
Retribution. It all comes full circle.
There you go. Well, my brain hurts.
That doesn't take one.
Well, let's drop over then into our second count. And that one is from ringsidenews.com. And it's asking, will WWE could face big problems with Raw Underground's future? And what the author is saying is that, of course, they debuted this new segment. And, you know, there are fans that of course, there's some that love it and there's some that hate it as usual. And he did also mention that the third hour did see some very huge ratings from that. But apparently there was a Q&A at F4W Online, and Lance Storm brought up a big issue that WWE will face down the line regarding Raw Underground, you know, if it just really becomes popular. And what he said is the segments, they're very short and those fights have ended quickly. If they need to present a longer fight, it might contradict what they've already shown. It could also take away from the actual wrestling once those superstars return to the ring. So it is some interesting points. We didn't get a chance to talk about the overall thoughts of Raw Underground. So let's talk about that as well. But Duzzy makes a pretty good point, because as they introduced this and we were watching this, we saw several, if you want to call them matches or beatdowns, that lasted, I don't think any of them lasted longer than 60 seconds. And a lot of them looked like that, you know, whoever they were fighting against was taking a beating. And if you're in that situation where this person is beating up this person that, you know, is taking you 60 seconds, then the following week, you're now doing a match and it's now taking you 20 minutes. According to Lance Storm, he's saying that's where he sees the conflict can be. It can be a really good thing of the way Raw Underground is presented, but then it starts to show where the issues. What's you guys take overall just on Raw Underground news segment, because we haven't talked about that, and what are your points on what was written from Lance Storm? Let me start with you, Matt Michaels. What was your take?
So it's a concept. Mm-hmm. Listen, the way it was kind of spliced up awkwardly didn't really help the overall presentation of it. I do like the fact that Shane McMahon even referred to the one guy as "you guy." It was just like, there's like no names or anything, just this guy versus the guy we want to establish. I think the big guy was the guy who we just saw as the ninja, right? The huge dude, I believe. Yeah, I thought he was the huge ninja, which is great. I mean, that was kind of cool here's a guy that you don't know. You get established a little bit, nice introduction. But the problem they're going to have is really what it comes down to is they were using guys like the Viking. So you have a gimmick with the Viking Raiders. What are you doing then putting them in this where this is, I mean, it's, I don't know. It's just not smart of using the guys who already have characters.
Mm-hmm.
Establish younger guys, establish tougher guys, bring in a fucking MMA guy or two, you know, and really make it a dirty fucking underground fighting thing. I saw no fucking cash.
Thank you.
Bad, man. You know, serve some drinks. You know, where was the alcohol?
Where they have the strippers.
They had strippers, but they wasn't getting paid.
So, you know, so make it, you know, if you're going to go that way, go fucking all the way. Very reminiscent of Shotgun Saturday Night. Yep. But using the, you know, listen, FSW, they did Natural Born Killers. Great concept. They've done 2 of them. MVP, ironically, was in the main event of the last one and, you know, comes downstairs with the faction. And they see, that's the other thing. How come those guys come down and just beat everyone up? So there's a little confusion on what this actually is. As soon as we get more establishment of what it is, great. Lance has got a little bit of a point there. Becomes too popular, then what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you might be talking. See, that's why I would love to see like an established guy like Dolph Ziggler go down there 5 weeks from now and maybe lose to a guy that you've built up. And now Dolph says, okay, you might have kicked my ass here, but let's go upstairs where the real boys play.
Yeah.
You know, and give it that kind of longevity. But dude, it's week 1. I'm willing to see.
So you're not going to be one of the ones that goes, man, I just straight hate it, you know, or I straight love it. It's just, it was interesting.
Yeah, I can't really judge right now because again, it's one to, you know, listen, it's something that's just been tried. Sure. That's like me watching AEW and just saying that, oh, because they had a match in a football arena, that is stupid. You know, they should never do that. It's like that was fucking enjoyable.
Right.
So let's see what happens.
Simon Street, what's your take when you saw that, man? And you know, what's your take on Raw Underground in general, and then what Lance Storm had to say about what he think the issue may become?
Well, first off, I'll just answer the easy question. Lance Storm is exactly right. You have something that could potentially be really, really good, but the problem is you don't want to overshadow the product you have pre-existing. Matt Michaels gave a perfect example of that, and I was even thinking the same thing when I saw Dolph Ziggler. Like, he looked like a goddamn stud down there. You know what I mean? He looked right at home like it was Fight Club. I was like, but bruh, you've been choking the chicken upstairs. What's going on?
With J1s on.
Yeah, with J1s. as McMahon pointed out, I love to do J1s. Yeah. But on the positive side, you know, hopefully they'll figure it out. As Michael said, it's only week 1. The things that I saw that I liked is I liked the ambiance of it. It was kind of like PG-13 of Fight Club, you know what I mean, type of thing. Mm-hmm. There's some stuff they need to add. I want some cash. You know, them strippers on the pole, their feet hurt. They deserve to be paid, and someone should be throwing some money at them. You're on USA. There's other shows on USA that are way worse, let me tell you. Yeah. So, but also, too, I think it was a good vehicle for the Hurt Business, and this is what I'd like to see. That don't mean we're going to get that. I'd like to see them have a slice of pie, but mostly for a vehicle for MVP to be kind of like a crime lord type of thing. Like, his domain is the underground Raw. Do you see what I'm saying? Or he works the underground Raw, you know, and make it separate. But here's the thing. I would prefer to see it at some point be its own show, maybe on the network. That's all it is. Its own show on the network. Maybe it comes on right after Raw. We might not get that because they were making it seem like, I think Shane did say, this is like the new third hour of Raw. I think, did he say something to that degree? Did I hear that?
He did, and then we didn't actually get a third hour.
No, we didn't.
Of the product. We
Yeah,
just
we
got, spliced intermittently. That's what was.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm wondering if they scrap that and then use this as like a pilot per se. It was just what I would want, my wish list. Make it a pilot and then have it be something that's on the network for people who still pay for the network. And as Michael said, have it for younger guys to showcase their talent. It's another vehicle to showcase who they are instead of what we've been trying to do with these younger people. It's a new creative idea. Why not? What's a better way to see what someone's got? Is some guy that just pops off the street per se, put them in an unsanctioned underground match. You know what I mean? Have that then be where you have 13 guys who are unsigned in your storyline. Whoever wins a tournament, an underground tournament, gets a call up. You can spin it 50 different ways. There's potential, but I agree with Lance Storm. WWE is going to have to be very tactical with how they do this because I was very intrigued by it, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that was intrigued by it and may like it better than the product.
Oh boy. Sin City Steve, what's your take, man, on what you saw and what Lance Storm had to say about it?
So I heard about essentially what was going to happen. So I was spoiled on it because, again, I catch the West Coast feed of Raw.
Okay.
And I chose to not comment.
And he's in a certain chat room with someone who's not here tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
I same thing happened to me.
And I don't go to that, so I'm so happy I don't look at it.
So basically,
I took myself off.
Basically, I wanted to reserve comment until I saw it all. What I saw actually reminded me completely of an old school Xbox game that I absolutely loved. Def Jam Vendetta.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that. Yes.
And I was a huge mark for that game, dude. I 100%ed that game. I thought that it was so fucking dope for its time. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is a great idea. It all depends on the execution. Now how things fell out after week one, it came off hokey to me, the way that everything ended. But they at least have my attention for next week. And I think that that's really all that they could ask for is, again, they're being creative. And me as a lapsed fan, or, you could call disgruntled fan, you can call whatever. Ultimately, you're going to need to do certain things like this in order to bring those people back to the product. You're going to have to show them that you are willing to step outside of the box, think against what has been the case for God knows how long. And if it doesn't work and it sucks, then oh well, but at least they're trying something. I will never fault them for that. And what's the best that we could have come out of this? Okay, you can use this as a vehicle to build new stars. I mean, it was perfect what they did with Babatunde. They made the guy look like a fucking monster. He's been in like the Saudi battle royals and all that kind of stuff. And they made him look like, a pretty badass dude on those occasions, but there was never any follow-up. But now you've got a great avenue and a great venue where he can grow into something and segue himself into, like what Street had mentioned, into the main 2 hours of Raw. And you can do that with certain people. Hell, you could do that with certain people that have fallen down on their luck. Instead of sending them to NXT, you could have them to go down to the Raw Underground to fight their way back and build that into a rehabilitation type of a push. I think that this adds a completely new dimension and a new bag of tricks that they can pull from. I'm very optimistic, and I know that that's really strange coming from me, speaking about WWE programming, but I'm very optimistic to see how they go, where they go from here, and how they follow up. Because the first episode wasn't great in execution, but I can see what I would like the vision to be. And if my vision of what I would like to see lines up with their vision of what they're going to do, then it's going to be good. But I'm going to reserve full judgment until I see the path that they actually go down.
Yeah.
You're such a stripper.
But
teasing us, getting us all excited.
Hey, man.
But Steve, you just made a very good point, and that's the point that I was trying to make too about why AEW needs to build that number. It's new eyes.
Yeah.
And with Raw's numbers going down, and again, I'll be the first to say Raw needs to get their fucking shit together, because with the numbers going down, you want to get more eyes, and that's what it comes down to. Now, if you want to do something fucking brilliant, please, Uncle Bruce, if you're watching, please, I'm giving this to you. You have a buildup of one guy, not someone necessarily that you're gonna push to the moon, but someone who you want to look very strong and fairly unbeatable in that realm of the underground fighting. Then you have a masked man come in and fight him. And when he beats the guy, he gets a contract. And when he wins,
we lost you, bro.
You're glitching.
Okay. Am I back?
You
Yes.
back now.
Okay. So you have a masked man come in and fight. And when he takes off his mask after he wins a contract to wrestle on Raw, it's Heath Slater.
That would be some slick ass shit. There
you go.
You know what I'd like to
Bruce.
see?
Bruce.
Can I add a wish list to that just for a quick second? There's just one name that I want to see in the WWE for sure. I'm sure he'll get there. Maybe we'll see. His daddy is a stud, as we all know. But I'd like to see him in this type of arena, even if it's a one-off, and that's Brock Lesnar's son. That is a bad motherfucker. Have y'all had a chance to see him at all?
I haven't.
This dude right here is we obviously have to see what he looks like in the ring, but I'm saying something like that I'd like to see versus him being in the ring and be called up, type of thing. I'd like to see him in that environment. What would y'all say to that?
It all depends, man. It all depends on if they pass the screen test.
Well, he's definitely gonna pass. I think his name's Luke. He's definitely gonna pass Vince McMahon's screen test. He just built just like his daddy. So
that's one type of screening.
Yeah.
There's other ones.
Exactly.
I did enjoy the music in the background of that. I really enjoy that as well.
Um,
And you can incorporate live bands.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Reminds me of the ECW. Remember ECW did that for a while, right? When they came to, right when they first got bought out by by WWE. Remember they started having like live bands and stuff like that. I mean, it was a little hokey, but that was a cool thing that they added to it, Interesting. NXT's done it too. So,
But the main thing is that everyone would agree on is that WWE existing talent now should not be a part of Raw Underground. There should be all new people they're introducing to us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would prefer people that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Like not even in NXT.
Right.
Like
Okay.
use this as an avenue so that you can cultivate your performance center people.
And if you are going to use a team like, if you're going to have one of the Viking Raiders in there, then end their gimmick on Raw.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let them concentrate on being those types of guys, or break them up and have one down there and one on the main roster and get rid of the Viking. Okay.
Yep.
Now, let me ask you this. To use Sin City Steve's word of continuity, how would it be that even if we bring in the newer talent into Raw Underground and they're using sort of this MMA style, or what I like to call Thatcher wrestling style. And then now they're getting moved up to, you know, the regular product that we see. That's not what we see a lot of. Isn't that going to be completely different in some way?
No, because they could use that as their gimmick.
Right.
This is a built-in gimmick for anybody who's started out in the underground. This could be utilized as their gimmick, and you know it could be used as a way to show that, you know, that they're good in the, you know, in the underground style of fighting, but when the ropes get put up there and, you know, the sports entertainment stuff kicks on, that, you know, that's not their realm. So it's, you know, they're not as adept as what the seasoned Raw superstars are.
And what that creates, you know, to Steve's point, is that creates then an obstacle for that person that used to. So they're going to be fighting in a style that is very much against what a referee would consider legal.
Yep.
And you're going to have a lot of disqualifications.
Exactly.
You're going to have a lot of not stopping.
That's a good point.
Fuck finishes.
Remember how Shamrock used to snap that ankle. He'd win the match, but then he'd hold it, and then they'd reverse the decision because he still hasn't let go. You have those kind of, you know, people, you know, fighters.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Fuck. I mean, look at Shamrock's shape. He could bring Shamrock to fucking put someone over down there.
Hell yeah. He looked like he could still go.
Although he's on Impact's roster, so.
DJ, you mentioned a name of somebody that I think actually could be somebody that would flourish in that environment. And that's Tim Thatcher.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
he would be absolutely perfect. And a lot of people were questioning how Timothy Thatcher could you know, slide into a spot on the main roster. Right there, you've got a custom made environment for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So ultimately, who's going to run the underground? Is it still Shane McMahon, or is it the Hurt Business, or is it like a joint project? Or
I don't think the Hurt Business can have anything to do with it after this week.
Yeah, I think they just popped down there just to say, fuck you, we're the Hurt Business. Eat shit.
Yeah.
It'd be ridiculous to have them go back down there.
Yeah.
You know, what are they going to do every single week? Go back down there, and then you're destroying what you're trying to create. So
that's true. Who would y'all like to see run it if not Shane McMahon?
I'd say keep Shane there.
Yeah.
Paul,
I mean, I don't.
I was going to say Paul Heyman.
I don't have a problem with it being Shane. Honestly, I mean, you know, it's obvious that they've gone as far as to like want to have a McMahon in charge, and if that's the case, okay, your choices are going to be really limited. You're going to be stuck with Vince, Shane, Stephanie, or Linda. Take your pick.
Can you imagine Linda? Can you imagine Linda?
Zombie Linda? Bring her ass back.
Oh, that would be. I'd actually be kind of be cool with that for like a week.
No, Shane needs to run it. Shane needs to run it, and honestly, now that we're talking about it, it wouldn't surprise me if fucking Timothy Thatcher isn't leading that Retribution stable.
Now that I think about it, that makes sense, because what if the whole time he's been training these people
and he's been talking about his students?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to that. The only weird thing that the promos he's been doing, they almost lend as a little goofy, a little fluffy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, Bruce. One more.
Well, I will say this. I don't think all of us on the panel, and I'm pretty sure King Lucky would have flip-flopped to whatever the majority were saying, what we've said so far, but SmackDown has garnered our attention more than it has in quite some time.
Yeah.
Like
SmackDown doesn't have anything to do with this, but
yeah.
Well, no. Well, we talked about the Retribution is what I'm talking about, you know, because we had just mentioned the Retribution.
Okay. All right, ADD boy.
What if it's all connected?
Squirrel.
It doesn't matter. What if it's all connected? What if the underground and the retribution is connected? Did anybody ever think of that?
I doubt it is.
No.
All right, let's go over to our.
Now I realize why I need King Lucky on the show.
Wrestling Inc. Let's go.
Wow.
All right,
King Lucky, you got to come back so you can be Ass Boy.
I have no idea what the fuck just happened.
No, Ass Boy, one that gets muted all the time. We share it on the show, me and him.
Cool.
All right. Let's get to our third topic. It is from WrestlingInc.com. It's titled Impact Executives Say They Are Open to Promoting FTR versus the North Interpromotional Match with AEW. So just to kind of run down a little bit on what took place here. What are y'all laughing at?
I got a new name.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I'm Ass Boy, and King Lucky when he come back is Ass Monkey.
Oh man. Okay. I don't know why I stopped. All right. So here's the deal. There was just a bunch of tweets that went out, and Dax had pretty much tweeted that, and this was, I guess, right after their match that they had. Was that part of that 12-man? He says, real quick, this is what makes us a great tag team, not fancy double teams, not 30-second sequences, keeping the freshman in, using your partner, knowing where each other is at all times, feeding him, and he execute. That's all. Back to the ice. That was from Dax there. And interestingly, you eventually get Ethan Page now. He's now from the North, that says, this is why we need to work ASAP. Dax then jumped right back on the tweet and says, I'm begging you, we need to talk to our bosses. And then what do you know? Scott D'Amore from Impact Wrestling Executive says, well, Dax, I have mad respect for you and Cash Wheeler. I can assure you that at Impact Wrestling supports making it happen. How about a home series between FTR and the North? And then they says, hey, La Champion, which is Jericho, how do we make this happen? Cash Wheeler jumps in, hey, get our numbers from the Good Brothers. So like, hey, that's a good way now to get the telephone numbers because they're now a part of Impact. And then, of course, Scott says, hey, we respect all contractual relationships. So if your bosses will come to the table, let's get it done. So this was just pretty interesting because I have many times thought about this, and I think I've even mentioned it. I possibly either heard Matt Michaels tell me before or just imagine him telling me just how stupid that would be for, yeah, there you go. That's what I thought, for having wrestlers come from different wrestling organizations to, but I saw that and I see that being a win-win for both. Now, I don't know if it may be a win for WWE. I guess they are the big behemoths. So if they were to do something like this with any other company, it would mainly benefit the other company and not WWE. So they probably would not want to. Although I can even make a case that I still think it could be a benefit for them as well. But why not have the opportunity of having a match, even if it's a one-time match ever, maybe one time during the year? I don't know, maybe just a blue moon where they set something up where they have a big match that happened between two wrestlers from two different organizations to actually fight. And, they could come together and figure out how it works with all the numbers and all that so everyone could be compensated and all that work out. But why would that be an issue? Could you guys see this actually happen where you can have the North and FTR doing a match. You know, Scott says, "Hey, I'll come to the table already." So if Tony Khan was to come, what could you see that being a benefit? Even reading some of the comments, just from the article, and there were 8 of them. Every last one of them, it was even like in support of it. Most of the time, you get one, huh?
There were 8 of them.
Yeah, you know, but even they seem like they were supportive of it. You don't know. Sometimes you'll read them and they'll be like, "That's a horrible. It sucks." Blah blah blah. What's your guys' take on that, though? I mean, do you see like something, even if it's not a FTR in the North, maybe it could be somebody else, you know, in another organization. But could you kind of see this being a benefit for 2 companies? Anyone?
I think without a doubt, I'll go ahead and go. I think that this would benefit both Impact and AEW without question. And you know, let's be real. Who's to say that it's limited to just this particular match? Before you roll your eyes, Michaels, okay. New Japan and Ring of Honor have had a very constructive working relationship for several years. That relationship has been strained in recent years, but what that has allowed to happen was it allowed for some great matches that, quite frankly, I didn't think that I would have the benefit of seeing live. And thankfully that was really truly what got me interested in New Japan, was being able to see these guys, here in the States. And this was right at the same time that obviously they were having their expansion. So, you know, I would be completely cool with having one show a year or, you know, whatnot, where it's essentially Impact versus AEW. And I legitimately think that both sides would benefit from it. One thing that you could definitely see is that obviously it goes without saying that, you know, having some of the Impact knockouts go up against some of AEW's women in the women's division, that is clearly going to, you know, benefit the AEW side, because they're not on the level of Impact as far as their women's division. The tag team division arguably is a lot closer in this disparity, but I do believe that AEW has a better tag division than Impact does. So I think that both sides would gain from something along this line, you know, as far as having a working relationship for one show a year. And why the hell not? We've floated the idea numerous times on this show of WWE being the behemoth, as we just said, and other federations or other associations working together, because at the end of the day, when the tide rolls in, all boats rise.
I'm agreeing with that. Before we
go ahead, Michaels, I know you're going to rip it apart.
Well, talk to Ass Boy first.
Oh, Jesus!
All right, Ass Boy, let us know.
All right. So I believe that as much as I would like to see a duplicate or similar to what Ring of Honor and New Japan had, I also see the flaw in it. And the one flaw is everybody is nice and playing with each other until somebody steals somebody else's person or manipulates, or they jump ship over, because they're disgruntled with where they're at. I think that that's when it becomes a problem. The one thing I did like that Sin City C did say, and I'd like it to be just strictly that, is have an event once a year, probably not put no titles on the line. You just be honest with you. And it'd be like a showcase. It, to me, ignorantly enough, would be safe enough to where it's just a one-time deal. We're getting people together so you can see matches you don't normally see. Because I feel like that's the buy-in for me of why I would want to see something like that happen. But I get the politics side of it to where it will become problematic if it's a regular business relationship, such as what started happening with Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro.
Why not create maybe I don't know what to call it, an all wrestling league belt, so that it's not no one's real belt. It's just a belt that represents all wrestling organizations. So if you did have one, you got someone who can claim. I know. I'm sorry. Let me go back to you, ass boy, because Matt Michaels is steady.
No, it's okay.
His head's gonna fall off if he keeps going left and right with it. So finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No. Getting back to you, King Lucky, with the everybody has a championship belt. Because that sounded like a King Lucky comment. It really did. I got to call you out on that one. But
no,
I get why you said that, though.
No, I'm just saying because you were saying that you believe that there should just be a match where there is no title, just to showcase So what I'm saying is, why not have a title, not using their own individual titles from the company, but just have sort of a wrestling league title, as if they're all like one world title. No one technically.
How do you defend that though? Do you just defend that every year anniversary? You defend it?
But if you said you're going to do this every year, then you can do that. Yeah.
That's why I said no titles. Well, that's why I said no titles, because for me, and I could be wrong, and I think Sin City Steve agreed with me when I said it, the buy-in is seeing matchups that we wouldn't see because they're separated on different brands. I feel that if you keep it simplistic just for that and keep it simple, stupid, it can work. But if you're trying to have a relationship, it's going to equal out what happened with Ring of Honor in New Japan. I guarantee it, because there's going to be somebody that don't like the way stuff is run, and then they just jump ship, or somebody who was promising they were going to stay on the contract and stay here and still work both, and then they just jump ship. Some even jump ship and they don't ship. So that's the problem.
But I mean, you can't do that if you're still under contract. You just can't jump ship.
But the people who did do that were out of their contract and made, I wouldn't say falsities because I wasn't in their camp like that, but they made it seem like they were going to stay with a certain promotion and then left. And again, nobody wants to play ball like that too much, but I would like to see it once a year. Like Sin City Steve said, it sounds like a great idea. If we could do that once a year to showcase, especially for tag team, I would say more importantly for tag teaming, that would be great.
Matt Michaels, what's wrong with Scott D'Amore saying, look, I'm willing to come to the table, go grab your boss, and let's see how we can make this work? What's wrong with it?
Okay. So there's nothing conceptually wrong with that. Okay? He's got every right to do that. Fine. Here's the problem. AEW is trying to establish themselves as an alternative to WWE. All right? In doing so, they right now, if you are doing it on a one-off, they don't gain anything. So if you put that women's division from Impact, which is stronger than AEW's, and you have a relationship, now you're going to have to expect AEW is going to want their women to go over on your women. And vice versa, if you think that the tag team division in AEW is stronger than Impact's, then why does AEW want any of the Impact guys going over on their guys? All right? Becomes logistically, here's a company that has a lot at stake, and here's Impact Wrestling, which doesn't have as much at stake. So Impact gets all the rub. Simple as that. Next point. When Vince McMahon was rating all the independents of the NWA and the
glitch time.
Caught in the Matrix.
He'll be back, ladies and gentlemen.
He will. Give it some time.
He's on that different internet service.
He's almost like Goldust. Remember when Goldust would go,
Oh, God. I think he's back, man. Go ahead, man. Finish.
Go ahead, Matt.
So when Vince was rating everything, the NWA, AWA, and some of the remaining companies would put on the Super Show. It was essentially the end of all those companies, because you brought together all this talent, you shot your load, all this money into this one thing, but there was never going to be any kind of delivery, right? So you get to see a matchup you might never see before, but you see it once and that's it. The problem is this. Why the fuck would you sign with AEW FTR if you want it so badly to wrestle the North? You signed it Impact, right? But they're not going to sign an Impact because AEW is a bigger fucking stage. So it just doesn't make any logistical sense. And if you put all, you know, if you start bringing Ring of Honor in and New Japan in, and you're doing one Super Show, okay, but then you do have to have titles on the line. And the main title that needs to be on the line is AEW's, because they're the company that is basically risking all their reputation. You're also...
So let me ask you, so you're under the impression, though, that if this was to happen, whoever loses that match representing that company now will make that company who lost pretty much look like shit, and make the company who won look like winners, to the point where
I'm not even saying that company. I'm saying AEW has everything to lose.
Because they're trying to build their companies.
They're trying to build their company.
Yeah.
Why in the fuck would you?
Right now, it's not a good time.
Yeah. Why would you ever agree to have any of your wrestlers lose to anyone in any other company? That makes no sense.
I didn't think of that.
Right.
That's a good point.
Especially if you, I mean, they're putting so much money into this, and they're trying to build these guys. And honestly, when contracts go up for Impact and Ring of Honor and New Japan and, you know, MLW and, you know, etc., AEW is going to be first in line for a lot of these guys to go to. So why is there an immediacy? And again, the only people who get the rub are the companies who AEW is gracefully allowing to do this. It just doesn't add up. Now, if we are doing a fantasy scenario that would be mind-blowing, you have FTR and the North wrestle on Raw Underground.
Well, that's not gonna fucking happen.
But
let me ask you.
But that would be amazing.
Sin City Steve, let me ask you a question, being that you are a fan of AEW. If FTR and the North had a match, wherever they had it, and the North beat FTR, as a fan of AEW, does that change your perception of either FTR or AEW as a company?
No.
And I wouldn't think so.
The reason being is, at the end of the day, I just want a good match.
Right. Exactly.
But see, again, you're looking at it from the perspective of someone,
right? And that's the thing. That's the thing. He did. In my defense, he asked me as a fan.
Yes.
So I'm answering as a fan. As a business person, if I'm Tony Khan, there's no fucking way that my team loses.
But even let's take the business aspect out of it. You're a seasoned wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm talking about now is this aspect, and that is simple. You're watching AEW, you don't watch other wrestling. You don't know any other wrestling. You are getting to know FTR because you didn't necessarily watch WWE, let's say. You know, hey, you're 16 years old, 12 years old, whatever.
Right.
Now you have a tag team coming from somewhere else, coming in, having one match, beating FTR, and then never coming back. That makes no sense. The continuity, which is what we're, ultimately all looking for, is good continuity. You would literally have to basically listen. ECW, right? When they came into the WWE, what's the one thing they didn't do? They didn't actually wrestle WWF guys on TV. They wrestled their own guys. So that's the kind of thing, even back then, the WWF fans got fucking confused. Like, who the fuck are these guys? Because that promotion was so small to the East Coast that people from the Midwest and the West Coast had no idea who these guys were. So in theory, yeah, of course, wrestling fans want to see this, of course, because it's like, oh wow, this couldn't happen. It happened. But at the same time, realistically, it just does not make sense. Now, what would benefit AEW is if they negotiated something like this. I think that the exchange would be this: we'll allow you guys to come in here, we'll allow you guys to have various matches, but we want Don Callis or we want Jimmy Jacobs. Give us a creative mind in exchange. We ain't even going to talk money, right? You guys don't have to give us a share. We'll pay your guys. That's fine. But we want someone who's on your staff who's great creatively. And I'm telling you right now, if Don Callis or Jimmy Jacobs comes into AEW, it could be a game changer.
Without a doubt.
It's very, 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 very good point. I'd like to see that happen. That's definitely a game changer.
Okay. Anybody else want to mention anything else about that? I thought this was a pretty interesting topic because it seemed like it would be something great to see amongst promotions, but Matt Michaels comes pretty strong on that.
Well, you redeemed yourself. That one article was hot garbage. So you really redeemed yourself with these last two, especially this one.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay. Let's do our final thoughts and we'll get out of here. So let's start with you. It says Ass Boy, so I'm gonna go with that. Ass Boy, what is your
say it with your chest, god dang it.
What would be your final?
Say my name. Say my name. I'm playing. Look, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show. Thank you for the support. If you're new to the podcast or to the stream, subscribe, like, follow us. The app is here. It is a new way for you to interact with us and to gain access to all of our products. As far as for everybody else, never say never. Right now, everybody should be writing down their goals and dreams and making a plan to shoot for it, even in these times of COVID. You can build a whole bunch of steps to launch yourself once COVID is clear. So if anybody's doing that right now, I'm sending positive energy your way. Hopefully those things can happen for you, whether it's a job, whether it's strengthening your family, whatever it is that's going to put you in the positive. Simon Street and the Vegas Bad Boys are sending positive energy your way. You can do it.
All right. Thank you much. Sin City Steve.
All right, guys. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's liked, shared, subscribed, downloaded the app, all that kind of fun stuff. Literally, this show would be nothing without you guys. So thank you so much for everything. Obviously, I've mentioned it every week. Vegas Bad Boys brought to you by Rep Sports. They've got all of your pre-workout, weight loss, general wellness and energy drink needs. Rep Sports, that's reppsports.com. Go there, use the promo code Vegas at checkout, save yourself 15%. Again, Rep Sports, reppsports.com. Promo code Vegas at checkout, save 15%.
Awesome. Thank you much. Matt Michaels.
couple of quick things. This week we'll be releasing a debate. It's going to be on the WWE versus AEW. It's going to be on the audio podcast. So look forward to that. That'll come out at some point this week. It's a really good debate,
It was a
including
master debate.
It was a master debate. Yeah. There was an explosion. But our own Sin City Steve took part of in that, and some really good opinions, really good thoughts, and by no means, we give opinions of perspectives, but there's we want nothing more than to see AEW succeed, and we also want to see WWE continue to develop people and keep itself successful, because in the end, the idea here is we want people working.
Yeah.
We really, we got a lot of friends in this business, and the last thing you want to do is see your friends out of work. So that's one important thing. On Friday, you're going to check out the podcast on audio and on YouTube. Goldilocks, it was with TNA back in the early 2000s. One of our favorite people, dear, sweet person.
Mm-hmm.
She has a new song out with the Goldilocks band. I'll tell you, it's called All For You, and it is very moving. Brings up a lot of points about God and suicide prevention, and it's a very interesting take. You'll see some members of the band, as well as one person who was in the video, who was in WCW. You remember him as Kiwi, and that's Alan Funk. So it's a really entertaining show. It's a really moving show, and don't miss that one. And finally, earlier on this evening, a couple hours ago, we learned that James Harris, who was Kamala, has passed away. He had been battling health issues since about 2011. He lost both his legs over that time period between 2011 and now. And as reports are slowly coming out, it seems to have been related to COVID and to, his prior conditions and illnesses. He was only 70 years old. I know that might seem, like he lived a long life, but at the same time, it's just too soon. Especially for someone who, the last 10 years of his life, it's been a big struggle. Cauliflower Alley Club, they helped him out when he was needing assistance in paying medical bills. And, the gimmick itself, now it looks so dated and so racist, to have a Ugandan headhunter who doesn't speak and runs around, eating chickens, and but he was one of the most entertaining heels of his time. And in the days where you had a guy like Hulk Hogan on top, if there weren't guys like Kamala, Hulk Hogan wouldn't have meant shit. The business wouldn't have boomed as it did, because guys like him made guys like Hogan look like $1 million. So rest in peace, Kamala, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt Michaels. Again, we thank everybody for listening to the show. We do this weekly. We do it for you. We thank you for tuning in, for also going to our social media. Don't be afraid to to tell other folks that you know who enjoy wrestling about us. We would appreciate it. Just say, hey, have you heard of Vegas Bad Boys? And more likely they'll probably say, no. You should say, hey, give them a listen. Go to your podcast and just look for Vegas Bad Boys. And if you run into an issue like I do with some, where I get some that say, I don't even know where my podcast app look like. I've had some people with phones go, I deleted that app because I don't use it. If you have that, tell them, hey, just then download the app. Download the Vegas Bad Boys app. Either way, if you have a podcast app or you get our app, you will be able to know what we're doing and listen to our shows and have access to the videos and everything else. So we appreciate it all. And we will be back next week. So until then, you all take it easy, be safe, and